Morning, guys. Usually all after I go to sleep. Oh, after or during my stream, I don't know yet. I'm definitely battle royale for a bit. Says me and picked, you know. Relax. I can't fuck you up in the morning. Like, fuck you right up. Very right up. Sounds better. I'm in the bed and I know you went in the half the night because it was ignoring me. No. Really know I had bruised on my hand and that. I was really frustrated. Punched the fucking cag. Because I couldn't go on the internet to talk to you. Because that's what you're doing me. I want it. It's mine. I want it. As in my half human that belongs to me. There's no hole. Or the wee one. No, I'm so okay. Can I please have them tomorrow? Okay. Thank you. Another cigarette. I'm going to stop. Oh. Come over and see. And we can get down and go see Alpha. We can role play. Maybe get some dress ups. Like proper dress ups. Not furry things. It's too hot in here. God.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are in the world. It is back for a third day of the Valorant Oceania Tour. Obviously, right now we are into stage 2, close qualifier number 1. It's Mitch Conky Concannon. Alongside me is Dion Komodo Perrotta. Dion, I wasn't here last night. You had beautiful Pilsky alongside you, but apparently we had a couple of bangers.
Yeah, it was a good change of pace yesterday. You know, the mellow tones of Pilsky in my ear kind of allowed me to craft a little bit more on the play-by-play, which actually did a little bit of play-by-play yesterday with how chaotic the rounds were in those games. But we had some bangers. We had some experimenting from Order there as well last night that we can dive into a little bit deeper later on.
Well, we are going to be seeing them shortly, but before it, let's actually give a little bit of a refresher. So, of course, we've already had open qualifier number 1, and now we're into that closed qualifier status. There will be another one later on, which I do believe was May 13th as well. So there is the opportunity to be able to jump into that one. And then also closed qualifier number 2, which then does lead into the finals. That's where these players obviously pull those points together, where they can, make their way towards the Valorant Challenges towards the end of the year. So let's have a little bit of a look, obviously, at the rest of the things that we've got coming up today. That is the prize pool. So just as a clarifier, by the way, the prize pool isn't in stage 1, 2, and 3. It does actually come in the group competition towards the end, obviously, which also does have that element of the close qualifiers opportunity for the OCE and
So I'm not gameplaying late, guys.
to get on to the Valorant
Just
Challenges
streaming
League inside
and
December.
free
So
host
4,000,
them.
3,000, 2,000, 1,000, definitely not something to laugh at. And yeah, man, look, obviously there's also the MVP giveaways as well from Vodafone.
Yeah, so of course, whoever deems worthy of the MVP at the very end of it, or whoever, we feel fit, it's not always going to be the, highest tiered, highest action player. Sometimes it can be on IGLs, the consistent players and stuff like that, but they'll take home a little bit of extra cash into their back pockets as well. And, at the end of the day, the prize money is all well and good. What we are going to be wanting to see from these teams is all the heated action to accumulate those points, right? To get those points up there, to get their chance to go overseas into that NA Last Chance Ball.
Absolutely, and it's really, really cool to see that there is sort of the long extension of the competition, given COVID and everything like that, it can be a little bit hard to travel, so it's really just like, breaking it down right now, trying to put as much competition together as possible, really honing in on your team synergy and dynamic. Agent selections, we've obviously got a new map around the corner, I'm sure there'll be more agents as well, so definitely a good time to get as much practice in as possible before taking it over to NA in that Last Chance qualifier. We've obviously Sonics do it, so why can't the rest? But Dion, let's actually check what we've had over the last couple of days. Obviously, this is day number 3, so breaking it down as it stands. The 4 best of ones on the Thursday, which we did bring to you, and then you witnessed Order versus Bliss and Mind Freak versus Wildcard, Dion, and apparently there was a bit of it was Straight Out of the Zoo as Mind Freak as well, but regardless, chaos across the board.
Yeah, witnessed all of it except the lower, not the lower, the B stream there, the digital is running on through as well. Currently, that is being played out, actually, as you do see down there with Team Bliss taking on Paradox right now in that elimination match. Yesterday, we did say farewell to Kanga, and we also said farewell to, was it Mind Freak? Mind Freak losing straight out of the zoo? I think this... Yeah, it was, but Direwolves is gone as well, so there we go. Quick little updates on that. Love that one. But straight out of the zoo, surprising, right? That they are a team that doesn't really practice whatsoever. They kind of just jump in towards the game and see what they do. And I mean, the caliber of those guys, like Yifang's clutch that we were talking about before we got onto the screen today, Mitch, that was absolutely mental. So if you haven't checked that one out, jump onto the LPL Twitter socials. Go check out Yifang's clutch because that was phenomenal. It got straight out of the zoo into that essential third map for that reverse sweep.
Absolutely, full pressure, 12-12 scoreline. Haven using Sova's kit to full swing. Beautiful to see. But of course, that is not going to be all today. We do have 3 big best of 3s over the course of the day. It is going to be an extremely long one, but Dion, look, this is what we're here for, right? As casters, it is really on us to bring the hype for as much as possible. And I'm just happy to be on the screen, to be honest, in front of all you lovely people in the chat that do support us day in, day out. But the first one, Dion, banger. Order versus Wildcard. We did hear from an interview with Watt on Thursday night that the pressure was sort of between them and Wildcard. Wildcard have had, I guess, a few up and down results as of late. They had trying to really work out their agent pool from who plays what sort of thing. But now seeing Freak back on the Rays, in and back on the Jet, and obviously RDW on those Sentinels as well. obviously after taking down Mind Freak, actually knocking them out of the tournament into the lower bracket to
he's my
win
photo actually.
Belgian straight out of the zoo, it means that we're seeing some pretty crazy things right now, and Order versus Wildcard already as this competition's kind of wild.
Yeah, and it was the thing with with Mind Freak yesterday actually, that we saw the match here on the A stream, if you call this the A stream, the other B stream. But when they did get knocked out into that lower bracket, we actually said farewell to Lakers, and Cryptic was actually substituting in. So I was looking toward that game, and Mind Freak actually changed their roles completely. We saw Norson playing for Jet from memory, looking at earlier. His match didn't really do too good, I think, but then he absolutely powerhoused it in the remainder. So I'll actually bring it up right now. And on the flip side, Cryptic was playing on toward those Sentinels. So a big change of pace. Actually, sorry, I lied that Norton pretty much carried the team across the board on that, except for the last one. So a very different structure and style for Mind Freak there. But yeah, ultimately in the end, they do get knocked out in that final map. 12 in that OT.
Yeah, man, and they had a very, very long day. I understand that, sometimes playing 6 maps can be quite taxing, but at the end of the day, that's the passion. That's where it needs to run. I've played in lands where we played like 16 hours of CS, something like that, back to back to back, and you do it because you love it. So, regardless,
4 years to
it is a shame to see Mind Freak go,
26
but
was
with the points
published,
behind them, obviously they are sitting still at number 2.
and
So it's down to the rest of these teams drilling in forward, but man, Order versus Wildcard straight out of the zoo is going to be the next one up, of course. So we will be seeing who is the victor of between Bliss and Paradox right now, taking them on at 3:30 p.m. obviously Australian Eastern Standard Time, which I'm very much looking forward to as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. The biggest thing though coming in towards this Order Wildcard match for me potentially is going to be that veto system. Before we even get into that though, we want to see who the players are going to be in the server. Have a little bit of a refresh coming in toward that one. But yesterday, we saw for the Order lineup that Noz was playing on that Astra for the first kind of 2 maps in toward it, and then we actually got Lightnings out, and Wildcard at practice with Noz on that one just again, they went back to what you would normally know. Noz was actually on toward that Killjoy that Wizard would normally come out through. Then you saw the Viper and everything come through. So yesterday for Wildcard, it was a strange kind of new deployment of their forces, but we can say the same thing for Order, which will be up a bit later if we see Vines. Their Vines yesterday, that was winnable. It was an experiment.
Experimentation for these boys, and that really clearly runs along Mind confidence, right? Tux, Texter, Autumn, Disco, and Sign. Fantastic bunch of lads. We obviously did hear from Sign in one of the interviews as well, but we also have the video content from Tux. They're just a fantastic team across the board. Super experienced. Obviously, we've got, I guess sort of more so the high-level competitive experience between Tux and Texter. Autumn and Disco, they've also been around for a very, very long time. A lot of sort of, more individual solo play structure, and they've slotted into this team super nicely. We did see a bit of a shaky start trying to work out the roles of the agents for a little while, but now they're set in stone and they're looking really, really good. Science slotting in for Dick Stacey, and obviously Dick Stacey taking a step back, moving into the coach role. So fantastic bunch of boys, fantastic bunch of players, and I think Wildcard are going to have a tough
every night.
today.
And of course we had that interview from Tux yesterday. Later on, they did claim that
because I want
victory.
to talk
He said
there.
that everything was rolling through with them very nicely. Pilsky touched on the point that him and Texter,
And to do
they've created their
kickboxing.
own band now for the realms of the Counter-Strike, but they're really happy in Valorant right now. It's a new kind of dynamic for them that they get to deploy their forces and try something new and really learn. And he said that he's really happy with how things are going right now at Order. So it really instills some good high spirits for Order to really continue on and see if they can get overseas.
Absolutely, that is the thing that they are rocking for. Of course, Tux and Texter would be missing that overseas competition, I'm sure. But on the other hand, it doesn't mean that we don't have another team for them to face off against. Wildcard. They are the ones who are trying to make their way sort of to contest Order out of the top slot. Again, in their first thing, they did have a bit of a struggle, I suppose, in stage 1 qualifiers. They did sort of fall away towards the bottom end of the competition, which was very, I guess, out of character for them. In another competition recently, we also saw the exact same thing. They got bested by Kanga, and then obviously, sent away to sort of the side, which was very shocking. But regardless, fantastic bunch of individuals, as we were saying before. Ninum sort of sitting on that jet, looking really, really good. RDW back onto the Sentinels. Infrequent sort of sitting on the Raze, Reyna, that kind of thing. And then Swell and Noz bringing out what they can. So we've seen Swell on the Astra, Noz, pulling out the Breach. Fantastic roster again. Noz on the IGL. Again, for Wizard to depart the roster or old mate Ralph, it is a bit of a shame, but IRL reasons do prevail at times. So really nice run, and it should be a awesome way to start off the day for us today, Dion. And let's check out who are our individuals that we want to look at the head-to-head. It's going to be, Disco versus Infrequent. I think that is absolutely fair enough.
And it's an interesting thing that we touch upon the agent lineups for these guys, right? Because we're starting to see some change-ups across the wildcard front and the order front. So coming into it today, I have no idea what we're going to be witnessing. I mean, we've seen Noz going over to that Astra as well, was picking up on the Sova, but then you came over to
Those got murdered last night, I'm afraid to say.
normalcy for wildcard. So
Yes,
again,
we had things to do last night, yes. We're very busy.
what they want to pick. We have to wait for the game.
Go look for your wife in the back garden, Jen.
It's all going to come down to those big multi-frags.
She's in the bottom of the garden with the fields.
They need to. It's going to come down to the consistency for these guys to get them over the line. And at the end of the day, it's a complete team game, and we know that these guys are going to be well and truly part of the team.
I'm an evil person. When you see the devil, because you're always in the wrong place.
Just his aim, it's super crisp. Obviously, I guess
Especially if you look at me, because I'm definitely in people. I don't think I'm funny, but no good stuff. But as long as I'm using it,
because it isn't super a game that you can solve. You can be shut down by some, I guess, BS utility. We could call
ultimately we can only rely on the
it can be
shows in
hard
this
at
world.
times to go for those individual plays. We do see
And
it
your
still
house.
though from time to time, but
To a
that's the main
point.
thing I do enjoy about it. It doesn't have to be any one type of agent that's the high frag.
Relying on
The
for
Sentinels putting up numbers
just
like
being
we see
there,
on Dawson,
not
obviously
anything
Texter,
else.
bringing out
Ever.
Sage and things along those lines, and then
Rely on
it's an
yourself,
opportunity for anyone,
rely on
depending on whatever
yourself.
their role is, to really shine, and that's why I think Valorant
I
is
love
such
how
an
you've
exciting
got
game.
same
No,
perception.
100%. And of course,
Even
we
though
saw
I'm
some
still
battle,
a bit
not
soft.
Sage come out from Texas the other day. We saw some battle
I
Astral
think
come
it's no
through
soft,
from
it's
him.
not
And
sharing,
just
it's
yesterday,
just
we saw some battle Sky to come on through. That's why I'm
it's
really
there.
interesting to see if we're going to get
We
blind
both
with
eat
order,
the same
because they
things
mentioned,
and we
Tucked in
drink
that
the same
interview,
things
they
or
hadn't
whatever.
tested their composition, their lineup
Share,
yesterday
money,
on the map against
I
Bliss,
shouldn't do
and it
anything
worked out really well.
something
It was just silly and stupid kind of when you've got a Breach and a Sky,
like
so
you
many
see
flashes come on through. But let's see if we are
other
going to go to
puppies
blind Twitch. Let's bring up the vetoes.
Here we go.
and
Okay, so Order actually
even
will
back
remove
themselves.
Icebox.
It's
Wildcard to
just
ban
being
split. Both absolutely fair decisions
I'd
there.
have
Haven Bind and
even
Ascent. So
be
we're down the middle of the map pool. The usual sort of stuff
got
we
other
are
bees to get
ready
to.
for. So we are
I
definitely going to
can't
be
speak
seeing that
right
bind
now.
come out as a minimum. Haven, obviously a
But
great map
I'll
for
be
Wildcard. They're super confident in that
we're
line. And
gonna
then
schedule that
Ascent,
in
a
for
pretty good one to end on. Both teams very equipped on that map. Do kind of
let's
think that
see.
Order has a slight advantage, I guess, from seeing what we do
We're gonna
right now.
schedule it.
But after we've had split taken out, it
See
really
if
does
yeah.
leave it down to a close best three.
Yeah, I kind of put my finger on right now how things are going to
That's
turn
not
out. I
good.
mean, we saw a really, really close game start off between Wildcard and Mind
Okay.
Freak the other day, or yesterday rather. For Order, they had that bit of steamroll over Bliss. So if you look at the extremities there, this technically would favour over towards Order to try to get into that grand final slot, that BO5 with
Maybe
one map
pencil
advantage
in
that
for
we will
lunch
be
and
running
it's
through
sweeties.
tomorrow. That starts at 5 p.m.
Let's just
Australian
pencil
time.
in
But
it.
this one,
Just like a
Haven,
schedule,
Blind,
you
I
know.
mean, I want to hold my tongue. I want to see if we're going to get any
My
new
diet
picks
for
to come on out on the agents, if we've had
getting
any,
sweet in my
practices
fight.
to come through from these guys, because if they're going to bring something
It's
new out,
exhausting.
I mean,
It's terrible.
it's always one of those things, do you bring it out now when it really requires it, or do you do something that you practice on? And I mean, for Order, they technically could, right? They did it yesterday. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, that's the thing, right? For a team like Order, they've all got fundamental, firepower inside them. They're not a team that really has to rely on any individual ability or anything along those lines. Obviously, coming from Counter-Strike a while ago now, they are all super well equipped across the board to carry the team in whatever role we've had. Back in an earlier version of Order, we actually did see Tux on the Jet, Texter on the Phoenix, I think it was, running around with that for a little while. And then they've also they've identified, I guess, that it's like, okay, Order Disco, they are fantastic entry fraggers. They can obviously take a lot of individual control of locations of the map with their duelists. Let's sit back and take up a different role. So seeing like Tux on the Viper, the Killjoy, it's so cool. And also same with, Texter picking up the Stage, Breach, and things like that. They're fantastic players. The Astra now as well, coming into the meta, it really, I enjoy seeing it, because again, as I said, it doesn't matter what you're playing. At the end of the day, you're still there. Sure, your utility might favour the defending on the attacking side, depending on who you're playing, like a Killjoy, maybe not the best sort of attacking-sided agent, but regardless, his gun still does shoot. It's fine, right?
Exactly. That's one of the things that Pilsky brought brought up yesterday as well. He was like kind of hammering in the fact that he wants to see Texas just go back on toward that duelist to get even more frags coming through. But if you're playing, you know, your assistive sort of character there for your Astra, you can still get those frags come on through. But then if you, on the back of that, and without further ado, we are going to move over into our first map of today, Mitch. Haven. Let's roll in.
Ready to get into it, Dion. It is map number 1 of potentially 9 that we do have on the boards today. Haven, Order versus Wildcard, an electric battle that we've been waiting to see in this competition for quite some time. It has been a little while, but I am very, very excited into it. Again, guys, welcome to the Valorant Oceania Tour for 2021. We're at stage 2, halfway there to seeing who is going to be duking it out in that OCE and NA last chance qualifier. International Valorant, baby. Let's get into it.
We are going to roll in, and this is what I've been waiting for. What are we going to see, Mitch, on toward these picks? And it's a change-up. It's a change-up. Tax on the Killjoy, Texa back on the Astra, of course. Disco on that Raze, everything flowing forward. I mean, it's a bit of a standard to come through for Order on this map. Bind is what's going to interest me. We got the same stuff over for Wildcard as well. I want to see combos from Astros and Sovas.
Random access memory.
That is absolutely for
Access
sure.
memory. Oh,
Stacking.
look.
Relatively hard
Nappies.
down towards this A position for the time being.
Later on,
We'll have
nappies.
Smell Utility come out. Ninum is already up. He's dashed underneath. The gravity well not quite connecting, but infrequent. The bait shells will actually drop Autumn as well. Now they spin around. Tux will recover
I'm
onto
so
Lost, but
happy
infrequent
that
finds one more back.
Ashton played
Now it's
again.
all on a Texter. Inside a 1 versus 3 has been heard out. Ninum going for his
Couldn't
fame.
find
Ninum being
some
Texter.
coupon.
Texter's going to find it. There's a world where he wins this 1 versus 3. He's going to be able to get the Nebula down as well. That's actually look to pop inside it. Push the tap onto the defuse. Might get it to half. But what's the timing going to look like? RDW! He's sticking it all the way through. But RDW does wait for all the timing. You can just imagine him counting the numbers up in his hand. Texter gives it a good crack, but RDW is ready.
Oh, my lord, you talk about explosiveness in the beginning of a pistol round. Texter trying his due diligence to be able to clutch it out. Already managed to find 2 frags in the mix. Would have needed a 3k if he didn't opt to try and stick the spike in the end. But he chose to do so, seeing if he could outbrain RDW. But he is back on the Sentinel, back on the Cypher that we know from so long ago that he did deploy on towards. We saw him kind of divulge into the duelist meta, but he's back on the old faithful. And I guess this is a stronger roster for Wildcard with how they are deploying. I really like the change-ups that are coming through from them. Talked to, you know, Ali or Swell the other day that he really likes to be able to nerd out on Sova. So, Mitch, when we get into these rifle rounds, that's where I just really want to see what all 10 of these players are going to be able to throw in towards in this crucial game to get them into that grand final.
Yeah, for sure. If anything was there to wake us up, Dion, I think it was certainly that round. RDW, great shot. He's gone for the old classic ghost save bite. Waiting for him to make his way on down. Sitting inside the window, information will be gathered. RDW being tasked ahead here. But he does find another, so that is at least a good response. Autumn's going to pick up the frag, however. It's down to a 3 versus 4, infrequent. Going to close his gap towards that location. Okay, a little unfortunate there. Autumn will connect. So it's a 3 versus 3, but it doesn't look like a round that they'll take. They might just try and find as much damage as possible, which does make it a little bit awkward for Wildcard moving into the bonus.
Oh, and Noz is going to be able to find Autumn here. A little bit of a sixth sense that Signed is going to be on this location too, but as Ninum dispatches up Disco, Sign peeks out, he lines up too. Oh, this is actually a workable scenario if the spike wasn't ticked too far away. He'll fall with it for just lost bonus money right now. He knows that they'll go into the rifles and the next one for Order, but maybe not. He's actually wanting to hunt down to Swell, who gets out the dart, and he will fall to the explosion of that Ready Knight. In the end, Mitch, it is the 2-0 for Wildcard, but that is a pretty costly round. We might even not see a bonus be played from Wildcard here. We might see them actually go proper into the rifles across that board. They are looking to kind of do so. Ninim's one away from the Blade Storm, so he'll be probably looking forward one of those ultimate orbs. And I don't know, this round is an interesting one because it kind of does negate that bonus, as I said.
Thank God it's gone. That's all I'm saying. Finally, new CMI and Ninum with the blades, as you mentioned. But it should be a pretty decent brawl right now. The stars down onto the side of the A long orb. Nothing going to be found there as of yet. It's just going to be Sign trying to get the shock dart in there. But still early on. No damage. Ninum waiting to see if anything does push out towards that garage location. It is Disco. But inside the window. Nothing will be aggressing, though, forward. I am liking this setup for Order right now. They are playing sort of heavy stacked over towards that C location. Tux locking down A with all the Killjoy utility. So they are relying on that one quite heavily. But once again, it's Autumn to play a very aggressive line towards B.
He's sexy, man.
Drone's going to be coming out from Swell now, just to make sure that all the corners do get cleared on through. Isn't going to tickle any trap wires, because you know what? There's no Cypher on the side of Order. It's going to be just that turret that they need to try and destroy, and that Aldrone. But over towards the and the alarm clock, but over towards the C side, Ninim has brought out the blaze, and he's missing a bunch of shots. Good for one, traded on through, looking for the spike plant. RDW pushes as well to be able to find a frag. Fire advantage with Wildcard spike coming down. It's another trade frag to come on through. Neural Theft is utilised. Tucks is in towards the side pitch, and now it's 1 versus 1. 30 seconds. Swirl. Tucks has seen him.
Has the information, no good use of the turret to try and bait it out. Swirl's still going to go for that stick with the plan. Moving around front side, Tux knows there's only one location where he can be. Turret does spot him out, gets the information. But Tux with a 1-on-3. Certainly not a man that you would count out in a situation like that. And that is an awesome way to get Order back into this game. 1-2.
No, 100%. 100%. You talk about the technical bonus round there. If Wildcard did have that lesser buy, if they survived with more players in that second round, then it would have been back into the proper rifles into this one instead of the sort of scrappy buy that we're seeing them trying to formulate right now. The Spectres are going to be even out. Noz might go on to that Spectre or just even to Sheriff. It's going to be an interesting round to see how Wildcard are going to be able to play with this. Money situation isn't great across the board at all. So a back and forth affair right now really wouldn't favour anyone. And I am just noting as well, there's 2 judges on the side of Order.
Yes, there is.
Get
One towards A long, though, which might prove to be a slight challenge. They are getting up close and personal, though, with it in sewers. I like this. I very much like this. They have the information now. But I think the main factor is it's going to be very, very hard to hold it down from that A long position. But Orton does find the opener. Will have some damage come out
Just all about this
from the Astra utility. But they actually do choose to fall away now, Neil.
Yeah, already seeing farewells for one of the boys over on the Wildcard side. RDW playing with his best iron impression, getting out those lurks. We saw it phenomenally so yesterday. He's just providing a lot of space for his team to be able to get this plant down. But Mitch, it's going to be a tricky one. You know they've invested into this Order. They do have the lockdown on Tux. So whether or not they want to use it and farm it up, get it nice and early again later in the half, I would say that they might look to do so.
Send blank.
Creeping down and around. A lot of areas that they need to clean. Ninim on the line. Picks up one. It's going to be the Reyna out of the server now. 4 versus 4. Very, very challenging retake here, but the main factor is every single member of Wildcard is towards that long position. The lockdown not going to quite find it all the way through. It will put Noz into a bit of a tricky spot here, though, sitting in that position. Does find one, though. RDW with another. They're not stuck onto it just yet. They will tap on, though, now. Getting offered once more. Oh, no. Again, it's just basically a base shooting gallery, but Texter, they got it to half. He will stick it down, and they do find their second, even at the disadvantage. Well done from Order.
Mother Miranda.
Yeah, the obscured vision from the Nebula there really coming in clutch toward Order's line, because it doesn't give a line of sight over towards Wildcard. You can see them trying to just shoot through it kind of scarcely. They didn't have enough bullets to just spam on through. A little bit of an offline as well. Maybe hanging on the location of the spike there just didn't work out at the end. You saw the shock darts try to go in as well from Swell, but I think he only had one to be able to shoot on through. It's a very unfortunate situation, but as I said, Tux, you know, utilizing that that lockdown very, very well does get them across and equalizes 2-2. And we'll see where it goes out from here. I mean, it's going to be the proceedings, the creep up, Aldrin sent in, but you really need to back this one up, because look at the stack of players that Order have over here. They're even rotating a fourth.
Burn the house down. Burn
Absolutely.
down.
Get the tag onto the turret instead. Showstopper available. Take down Tux. So a very, very nice start here. Side. Going to drop RDW, but now he's going to be made vulnerable towards this location. Goes on the swing. Autumn does get the trade, but Ninim to find another. It's an advantage going the way of Wildcard. The weapon will be regathered, and also with the Cosmic Divide down, does actually give them a little bit of extra space. They're going to choose to rotate out, and I don't blame them. They've got 50 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time to work with.
This is really smart from Disco as well. He doesn't know if they're still lurking about this site, but Ninim, you know how sharp he can be, and now it is all going to be back on this Astra in Texas to see how out
all
of.
that's
He
for.
is
And
bright and early
left it burn.
in the gaming world. It's
Oh
only
my god, I'm so
nearly
sorry if I
1:30
got shot
p.m.
in the
Talk
head
about
and the
earliness
guts.
for
And
gamers here.
burnt me to death.
The Texter, you're back
That
in
wasn't
image.
the salary anymore. That's so true. Euthanasia.
It's just always
That's where I
funny
go.
hearing web
I see
gamers
that
are
now.
like, man,
I
I
should have
don't
seen
want to
that in the
play at
past.
11 p.m. on a Friday. It's
Oh,
like,
it's
man,
still alive.
come on.
Needs the
You
burning
say that like
zombie.
you wouldn't
Oh,
be in ranked
great.
until 3. That's all I'm saying.
I hate zombies.
I understand it though. The old work hours do make it pretty chaotic.
It's so boring.
Long, long
If we
days
get
that
a
we have
super
there
fast
lately,
flash
but again,
someday, then
you
we're in
wouldn't do it if
trouble.
you wouldn't enjoy it, right?
You know, that's
Exactly. And speaking about the
I can see that
enjoyment factor,
happening in the future
Texter,
now. That's
he has to be high in spirits right now going into this 1-3, but nevertheless, it is Ninim. 3 quick headshots to come out from him in this round. Bright and early, he is activated. It's the third for Wildcard Mitch, and that was in a round that was, you know, kind of just a scrappy, non-existent really buy for Wildcard.
Yeah, no, they found some really nice shots. The pressure towards A, and one thing I do really like nowadays is seeing a team. Okay, we do have the man advantage over towards that side, but do we need to take it? No, because Cosmic Divide's down. It's going to cut off the information. They have to go for an aggressive play to try and find some responding info with Order. So in the end, they sit back and they re-aggress A with nobody home for Order as well. So good set of the mind games for Wildcard to net themselves a third round.
And now we're going to see what Order are going to be able to do with these lesser pistols. They do have a couple of ultimates that could tip the scaling toward their favour. However, with that clearance angle from Swirl, the Aldrin going in, Texas is going to be taken down to half HP from that shock dart. In this one as well, damage delivered is damage done, except for the Reyna, who can of course get that Devourer out to get some extra heals through. It's one of the good things that you like about Skye or a Sage. You can get some heat on out, but then is going to be able to finally open up for this round. You're just looking for damage here from Order on these pistols. Go at it again in the next one with the rifles.
Absolutely. Tux filled by Swirl. Gets the dart over the top as well. Information not gathered, however. Going to be cruising on up. Texter in the end will be spotted, but far away from any sort of action. Looks like Wildcard going to set up towards this 8th position once more. Again, only 3 members under equipped from Order to see what action they are going to be able to bring forward. RDW in a position to catch up some of those rotates. Will find Sign, can't quite do the damage. And in the end, he actually chooses to fall out as well. Doesn't want to lose that Phantom at all.
Surrounding the A side, H-Shells to be deployed from Disco to try and deny the spike from going down, because with only 20 seconds to go, this could buy a lot of time. They do get chucked on out, but Swirl is going to stick the plan through it. Ninim dispatches of Texter, again just looking for any damage as Ninim is padding out these stats. It is all going to be on toward Sign. New addition toward this Order roster. If you can even call it new really anymore, the grace period is over in my mind. Did hear from Hux, of course, that he's very happy with how everything is growing with these boys, and now Signed just see what he can do on this judgment. It's going to be nothing. RDW getting out that flank. Flawless for Wildcard, and that one's really good. They don't drop anything through those pistols, but here is where the test does come through. Rifles back for Order, and they do have a stronghold of ultimates to be able to utilize.
Absolutely, and I think one of the coolest things about an organization like Order is the fact that they do actually equip their players with hardware. So Signed apparently has a very bad PC, and he was playing in the last grand final that I commentated, with 60 hertz, like 100 frames or something like that. Now he's going to be getting some absolutely beastly thing with 240 hertz. So it really does make a difference. I mean, it doesn't make you a better player if you're like a newer learning player, but my God, like you would have gone back from 240 hertz to 60, right? Like your eyes burn.
I don't know about you, Mitch, but my eyes are pretty broken already, so any extra frames really do assist. Speaking about infrequent finds Texter, but that wasn't the first frag in this round. We already said farewell to Signed, and now RDW has a creep up in towards the window of Gary. He's able to dispatch of Signed, so this is looking pretty potent for Wildcard. Getting into the site, but Tuck's good for one, traded through onto the 2 duelists of Order to bring this one back.
This game's terrible.
Got a bit of time. Disco has already made his way up towards CT, but both of them do time and in towards this garage position. Autumn now starting to creep down. Another star sent out in the astral form. Moves on up. Fresh off from Disco. This is the man we talk about right now, though he's headed all the way down towards Long, but nobody's home. This actually could be the timing that doesn't net them. The gravity well to take him off the defuse right now. Autumn looking to creep on into the garage. They surely should have the information right now. Disco finds another, but it's also 1 versus 1. He does have the blades available, but Autumn will be the man to connect, and he does have enough time A round found by Order, a third in a 2 versus 3.
You almost feel like potentially that's a misplay there for Wildcard, but they have to back themselves. They have to go in feeling happy, feeling excited in toward those situations, and they really just have to make sure that they are, laying down those foundations in a situation like this. There were trade frags going through left, right, and center, but in the end of it, a 3 versus 2, it's really well placed from Order to realize the situation. We know how experienced these guys are, and you look at it, right? It's the sort of 2 tag team duos. You've got Texter and Tux, who have been in this roster for the longest time, and then you've got Autumn and Disco, who have been brought over from, a previous installment of a different team into the fold of these guys. So you've got the synergy that has been explored with and built upon time and time again from those guys in situations like that, where you know how sharp they are on the aim. It does come down to Order besting out Ninum in the end. Therefore, I think it might be the first time in this game so far with Ninum how he's been playing, but it was a fresh round. Order now, Mitch. They are looking to tie things up.
Absolutely. And yeah, look, I guess the cool thing about this matchup is that when we're talking aim, both teams are well equipped. I guess the only real benefactor for Wildcard is their world of experience ahead of Order. I mean, infrequent, he's got international competition status behind him, but he was probably one of the best AWPers from the Australian region, with most of the powerful snipers coming out of New Zealand. Besides from him and Alistair, maybe. But it's interesting to see. He is, not on the operator in this game. He was for a little bit, picked up the jet, but obviously when you've got Ninum, who is just so explosive, it's worth having that man. It's like, because one of the things about a cool duelist is being able to switch off the brain and just go in aggressive. But there we go. Good luck, good frag before we fall.
Brain switching, you talk about it. Texter trying to get out of dodge, does get taken down to 78 feet. The Neural Theft at least gets brought down by IDW with his push up through Garage, really finding a weakness of Order that they will definitely try to exploit time and time again. Noz now getting out these nebulas as they're both going to be bringing Cosmic Divide. This is where things get really interesting. Only the ultimates and the abilities can go through this. Your bullets cannot. They have to almost get in toward the site, the containment field. This is a really dark deployment right now as Autumn does have the Empress out. But Swirl taking 2 as his prize. All down, however, to Ninum. Tucked in the back of this triangle of affairs. Finds the first, and pushed through by Texter. There comes a defuse, and we become tied. 4-4.
Casual
Super nice play there from Texter with the 3K to recover the round. 4 versus 4. Looking really, really close in this first match, which is exactly what we were expecting today, right, Theon? Wildcard Order, some of the premier teams in our region, really contesting for that first top 1 spot. Again, the Sonics now doing work over in North America. Big congratulations to them the other day for taking out the Knights Invitational. Really, really nice. Finally besting Renegades after what, 3 really high tier matches?
Obviously.
It was Envy the one that they got that grand final in the end.
Complexity.
Individual. Oh, was it Complexity or was it Envy?
Yeah, Complexity they beat, but it was Renegades that they've had 3 crazy best of 3s against, all going down to the wire.
Sorry.
Their icebox is hot.
Oh, it was Complexity. There you go, yes.
We got married about a year ago.
Shows how my brain is at right now.
My nose is blocked. Like, I think I fell asleep with the aircon on. Normally I put it on the timer so it turns off, but I woke up this morning freezing cold. It's like, this is no good.
The baby says so.
It's not at all. I think one of the biggest things that I like about the adoption of different teams and everything is still bringing in that Sky. A character that I feel isn't really explored too much in our region. But to be, seeing it picked up now, Order picked up yesterday, obviously Flex picking it up really leads into some cool things. And as I always say, Roy from the Renegades, Stronglegs, he found something that might have been, very damaging. You couple that up with a breach like we saw from Order yesterday, it's just absolutely insane. But
who is also unknown Strikers that picks it up? It's Stacks, right? Stacks and Passage Strikers it's dirty. And that's the thing, right? Any character with a flash that goes blinded whenever it sees someone, it's like, why wouldn't you play her? Aside from the horrible voice acting.
Well, there's a minute back on this clock right right now as Wildcard are looking to, I guess, take a lead on this attacker's side. You know, it's Haven, it's more spread out. Your defenses can be a little bit thinned. So with this stacking and grouping around the A side, you've got Disco and Autumn over there. RDW lurking about, seeing what he can spot on through. Astral Form in for Noz, putting down these stars. You know the containment has to come through for Order here around this side. But did they check where Autumn is? They've overlooked him, and now the judge, jury, executioner from the man. He finds two.
He's got a weapon too.
RDW will be able to find him in the end. But now it's Science turn with the judge just jumping about, buying time for the squad. Has he done that one? Another one as well. Now it's all down to RDW, who will need a 4K clutch in the round. Has found his second, but with only 20 seconds to go, and the spike on his back, he has to go towards this side, peeking out of the nebula. He's good for one. Nearly the second no Texter. Fake plan out. RDW, get your gun out, son.
Does chuck the cage up, but he's not going to quite be able to throw it through. Texter to close it, and man, this game with the shotguns, they are viable and get the job done. 4 big kills with the judge, and that is going to be another round secured by Order. These guys are putting in work to ensure that they can keep up the pace against Wildcard, because look at the kill disparity, Dion. 13 and 6, 12 and 7 for RDW and Ninham. But Order are ahead despite having less frags. That shows how hectic this has been so far.
Well, we've had that ninja diffuse come through as well from Texture, where we have players still alive on both sides and everything, so that contributes a little bit. But it's just the chaos coming on through, you know. We're not really seeing any extremely clean rounds, except for that one from Wildcard, where they were able to find that flawless on the eco of Order. And for the beginning stage of this one, they're really lucky to be escaping with their lives right now. In that gravity well as well, so vulnerable, 11 HP. That's going to go back to the drawing board for Wildcard. It's just kind of the C side. You can see the rotations coming through. Look at A Long. Autumn's just pushing up. There's so much info right now.
They can stack so hard towards this C side right now, and with the info gathered, that's going to be signed. Picking up the frag on the Ninham. He is in an awkward situation now. The shock darts should make it work of him. The paint shells will get the job done. But again, with Swell being very, very low, does actually pick up the Vandal, and now on the hunt to move on around. Oh no, Autumn! His lurk, his flank has been denied. Look at RDW. He's all the way up in spawn and in heaven. He can lock down so much information here, but he has to try and stop the rotation from the members inside this A-Link, Dion. He will be able to clear out the side, surely being able to pass that information over, but look at the position from Disco. He can already get in towards heaven. However, RDW is ready for it. Oh no! The timing!
Oh, you hate that. That's the round-winning upset as well. He had so much on his shoulders to do there. Even a cage over towards Spawn potentially could have bought some time, but just pulling out a trap wire at the wrong time does give an opportunity still, though, for Infrequent. 1 versus 2. He's just trying to bait them out, and he has to get the plant down almost. He's going to see, text a note. Now the plant's coming through. They're going to double peek him, and that's what I claim in this round. Oh, you really have to feel the
Pringles, get him down.
Oh, I feel like that was all a game of timings just then, even for Infrequent trying to get the spike down. It pulls out the showstopper, can't find anyone. A little bit unfortunate, but Order, they at least at the minimum tie up the half, 6-4. Wildcard, they've been showing good form, but they need to be consistent and find their way back forward, because they're not struggling, but they've certainly been pushed back, and now with the Sheriffs in hand.
I wonder, was that a misplugking click from RDW at that situation? Because up at Heaven, if he deploys the trap wire, it kind of gives away that he's up there, right? Yeah? I wonder. Guess we'll never know until we ask. But eco status for Wildcard, we've seen them do some pretty big damage in a situation like this. They've been able to gather around before, actually, in a situation like this. So 2 to go in the half. They'll have room purchase in the next one. This is definitely where Order can try to align up for an 8-4 scoreline and see how far they can go.
Or is it Andrew that sobered yourself up by having hay fever? Or it's looked at Andrew.
I see the chat has just found the judge round.
Unless it'd be my son.
It's always funny catching up with those delays, being like, what are they talking about? Oh yeah, that's right.
You know, he's in the game playing like he's the dominator.
Very slow round now. Blades are out for Ninham. See if he can lead in the charge boys. No flank to come through from RDW this time as well. You always expect the flank. You know, will be unaffected. That's a little bit unfortunate with the right click there. But Swell does manage to get the trade out, looking for a plant. Extra cash. RDW, there's flank. Shot as well. well.
think it
Now
is.
it distracts the
Stadium
attention
is
from
actually winning
Texter,
this way.
and this is where things get turned upside down.
Yeah, pulls the rotate away, but now it's back into that 3 versus 3. RDW could be the linchpin as he does wrap his way around, but the information isn't going to be gathered. Texter going to be able to drop and deny. Infrequent at the back of the site. They do get the information though now. He's in an awkward spot. The gravity well is going to pull him in, and then unfortunately Swirl cannot hit the sharp shots with the Sheriff. And it will be Tux to close out another round. That is Order leading out the half here with 7. Wildcard floundering a little bit on the other side.
Fight.
Yeah, they'll have their purchase coming through in this one, but you look at the utility usage there from Order as well. It was just an eco over from Wildcard, but you have to give them the full respect because they were able to break down that door and get in towards the B site. Gravity well coupled with the recon bolt over at the back of the shield as well, just to make sure that they do find Infrequent. Costly utility though, Hunter's Fury went in and found a kill as well, so they're not going to be able to rely on that in this new fresh round. But we can see Swirl be able to capitalise on it, and they might have to do so, you know, if they look to go over towards this C site, get it toward the right lane, that the logs get an entryway in towards this site, and you might even see that being expected from Order here. You can see that they've put 2 players there, nearly a third actually over towards here. They've got the early feeling of what Wildcard want to throw out here.
Disco straight through the nebula there, a couple of warning shots back, but that's a little bit unfortunate actually as it stands, making it a bit uncomfortable. And I'm just sort of thinking to myself, is this the first time we've seen an operator come out this map? I think it is.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm ordering a few days now to go for a snail. Ouch.
Autumn on that Empress is down very low. That is expired now. Tux as well, lurking about A, but you got Disco on 1 HP too. So very, very low in the duelist department for Order. Or at least safeguarded by the fact that they've taken out Noz. There's no smokes for Wildcard. And Autumn, he might have just sleuthed the wrong timing into Water, but Tux has managed to dispatch as well. There goes another one in Infrequent, looking for his third. As the neural theft comes out, that's some information for Wildcard, but they are very vulnerable right now. The spike as well is in the clutches in the hands of Tux. As he does reposition, Disco peeks out his head, looking for shots. He gets in him. They're both low right now, man. He had no HP.
That's what pissed me off.
Now IDW. 1 versus 4, finds the first one, no bullets, has to go for a reload, and there's no time. It's
Right, I'm
he has to go to
with
the
the
fight when
catcher,
Tux
I
is
need to
already.
stop
This
that.
round should be Orders.
Go home and
Just
do
has
it.
to force his way in. The turret is there. He's been spotted out as well. And look how perfectly they're playing this right now. That's the experience that comes through from Order. Despite IDW finding the frag, he's got no time. He's got no positioning. And that is going to be an 8th round for Order to wrap up the half. 2/3 go their way. And yeah, again, nice attempt from RDW, but just the positioning of Order was too much for him to overwhelm.
Hang on.
You're too
Was
much.
that not a 1 versus 3 with somebody still
Just
up
don't
in
go anywhere
heaven?
near
Because he didn't go
society
through the wall.
to the human beings.
Did he
They
jump
don't like
out and
it.
fall to his death? Because it was 1 versus 4. He's found the first one there. And the
People tell me to
he
stop
did.
breathing, so I think you should just stop breathing for just like me.
I think
Because I
you
looked
might
at the
have.
radar
Now that you
and I
mention it.
saw
You
an
get
X
first out,
under
I promise
heaven,
you
and I'm
do
like, hang on, he didn't get a kill there. That had to have been a fall death. I need to re-see that.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
funny.
love that we invented
I think
drugs
you're
in the
right,
human race.
though. But anyway,
I don't understand what that
halftime.
means, that one.
Opportunity now for Wildcard to try and do
Even
something
the
on this
explanations and
defense.
declarations.
RDW is leading the charge
No.
firmly, and that's what I mean.
No,
Looking at
no.
these scores, as in the round sightings, 8 to 4,
That's
but then the
zero in
frags
life.
just do not really translate. Nos has had a bit
You
of a quiet one,
stand
same
on
with
the
Swirl,
paper.
but
Fuck you,
then
fuck
again,
you,
same
fuck
could be
you.
said. You know,
Because
Disco
you're
and Autumn
alive.
haven't really sort of fired up, but
Like,
it doesn't
fuck
matter.
them.
Order,
You're not saying,
they
like,
prove that it's not all
fuck
about the
you for
fragging, and
talking
just
to.
the fact is they've
But
still managed to
it's
pull through 8
hard.
defending sided
God.
rounds.
Can't you just consider the rest of them? Disgusting. Yeah, man.
You know the time when you need to get a sneeze out and it won't come, but it's like you start talking and then halfway through you're going to need to do it. That's where I'm at right now, so we'll see if it goes through or maybe in just the ramblings that it does fade away. Cheeky little camera to come through from RDW, it is destructible. And you can see the sign to seen it in the end. Minutes go here on this pistol round. Target getting some information out, just a spread deployment of Order, you know, making sure they're not doing anything too fancy, making sure they're covering all their bases over towards this site. Here comes the smokes, big reveal actually on 2 of these players from Wildcard as well. Disco opens up onto IDW, and you have to see
Whatever
them
you
hold
do,
down the fort
don't
here,
set your
but
curtains on fire.
Order, they're just running away.
Yes, well, take down one member there. now they
Yeah,
do
but I
start
think
to
from
rotate over
history,
towards the C position. Actually, Texter manages to
it's
catch
in the
off guard
book.
Noz. Astra versus Astra.
Yeah,
One member back towards the site being
I'm not
Ninham. They
saying
do
that
have the
I don't
information
know.
now. He has to try find some of these shots, but it's a great
That's
wallbang
the
from Texter. These paper thin
it's a
boxes make it
drastic.
challenging. Now with
Sometimes
the stars going
drastic.
down, that's going to be a gravity well,
It's
making it a little
drastic
bit
over
awkward, but it will
Hannibal.
be infrequent to
Because
find one.
tries to
The
say they
recall bolt over
became
the top
25
does gather the
piece
information.
instead of
He's still
putting
he's able to
genuinely
sort of
over the
isolate these
years.
positions. They're
And
going
I've
to swing
never
together
shot
though.
that in my life
It's a dink up Theon. It's win frequent,
ever.
noting only one more, but Autumn
Not
will find it.
often.
The hype was there, the HP was low, but it is Order that actually find a 9th round.
So I've just seen that round back on the stream. It was in fact Disco jumping out of the heaven window and Swirl got fragged as he fell to his death. We did miss that one, but I've just seen it back, so that's kind of funny to see. Nevertheless, though, it's looking like a bit of a powerhouse statement now coming through from Order. They've found their footing, Mitch. You see how many rounds they gathered at the tail end of the first half there, 6 in a row. They have now gathered the pistol coming into this new half as well, where they've got the purchase up. We can't say the same for Wildcard, so they just have to make sure that they either find this one or they win out that next rifle in the bonus status and kind of look to bring it back on that defensive side from there.
Yeah, look, the team synergy from Order has been fantastic right now. Wildcard really haven't had an answer for it. They've had massive holes in their defense identified, whereas Order were really just able to adapt to Wildcard's offense. And there we go. Ninham does manage to find one here, so at least an opener going the way of Wildcard. If they are able to deny this second round with the Sheriffs, there still is an opportunity, but RDW up close and personal has to hope that he might be able to sleep around something, but the opportunity has been squandered. Now the plant goes down into 4 versus 4.
I think the biggest thing for this round as well, with how far Ninham pushed up, we didn't see actually an early rotation come through for Wildcard toward the A site to assist here with a couple more players, so maybe a little bit of a mishap on their front. They've got 2 players who are very low going into this as well, and as RDW missed out a couple of those shots from the Classic, which, you know, they weren't even really looking for him or looking at him, it really does make it more tricky for Wildcard here, and it's just an absolute cleanup from Order, only dropping 1. That is okay from them, but we do transition into that level 4 bonus round now, where Wildcard will have a purchase and Order. I mean, they got Spectres across the board. Autumn, kind of expect a Spectre from him, maybe even just a Sheriff if you want to.
Yep, can reinvest. Obviously being the only member that went down there. Full purchase in, Wildcard. Pressure does start to amount. Autumn, as you're right, does actually just go to the Sheriff, making sure that they do have plenty of money. And I guess with a lead like this, it's something you could afford to do. Take a step down and make sure you've got the extra money to really play the bonus well.
Oh, here we go.
Nova Pulse in. Not going to be concussing anybody there for Wildcard as they're not pushed up that far over at this A site. You do have Swirl going toward the heavens. The Owl drone out will spot a crucial amount of information. But that's going to be go time for Order. Send in a bit of their utility, although they do get tagged on out by that drone. So they are going to fall back a little bit. This star is going to obscure the visions of Swirl. He does have a Phantom rather, so he can put out some pot shots and the trace is not to be seen, but that will be heard. This is where we really need to see the containment from Wildcard. But hello, Autumn, on that little savings this round, he's found a pick.
There you go. Uses the dismiss to his advantage. One away from the Empress as well, so an opportunity for him to actually go quite big. RDW will be spotted out early. Does have to get the cage down, information gathered, but he's put into an awkward situation. 4 HP does manage to get out of there as well, but now they're going to contest with him. Tux at least finds the frag back. Now underneath Heaven, that will be Autumn going down. Nos finding the trade down, already onto the side there. Some good positioning from these Autumn members though. Texted to deny another, goes up in towards Heaven. No stars available however, so it's just going to be onto the aim. Swell to drop one more, now into a 2-on-2. Dion, it's getting tight, but Tux, and he will swing. Last member in Ninham has to dash out of there. And giving up the goat here, he might even be caught off by Tux. Not quite. Radiant is enough to stop at 1 HP. And Ninham can't be really happy with that one.
I almost feel like that's a little bit of a double-edged sword, that Gravity Well pulling the spike in toward the open, because you can see the Texter going a little ring around the rosy through the deep end spawn, going up towards Heaven as well, provides him with a line of sight that he is actually able to see if anyone goes on for the spike, and in the end there they didn't really, because it was Tux with the Nano Swarm that got the job done to get them off it in 4 forced them
every
into a
other
bit of submission state. But
dictionary has got
in
at
the
least
end,
2
it's a double-edged
definitions.
sword in that front.
More
Yeah, they
than
have to be really
3,
careful
4
going into it.
people.
And again, that was the sort
The
of bonus round
bastard.
for Order that they are
No.
able to win on out. Now we get
You
into
have
the
no
disgusting
dad.
nature
You're
of these
of
judges
unraised
that get brought on
pudding
out for
heart.
wildcard. The shoddy meta,
Bastardism.
absolutely do hate it. We saw the Bucky get nerfed a bit, but the judge has not been tickled yet.
Use wide
7
frame.
rounds the difference,
Digital.
Mitch. Wildcard.
That's what you
This
should
was not
do.
the scoreline I was expecting.
Not at all, man. Wildcard, very, very good Haven team, but Order have just had answers for him, and that's the thing.
A wide frame
Order's map
first
pool
one.
is not shallow.
Use, yeah.
I suppose they
Advanced grade.
ban out
Advanced
Icebox. It's probably the
grade.
map they're the least
It's
comfortable
amazing.
on, but we've seen them still get big wins on that map, so they're just happy to sort of still play middle of the map pool because they're really,
Can't
really,
be
really good at it.
but kick back on me because it's Firefox. Firefox is a devil. Should base everything on Chrome.
Interesting
Chrome's
that
easy
Nim
to
has
do.
not chosen
It's
to
easy
push
to
up through
mod.
along
It's
with
easy
these
to do.
blades. Going to post some
Very
personal, gets
malleable.
potent on the
It
right
works
clicks.
for
He's just going to
iOS.
sit pretty
It's
behind
got
these bricks.
Microsoft, Apple,
See what he can hear on through the double
blah,
statue
blah,
from
blah.
Disco.
And
Does get his head
console,
taken
blah,
off now. This is where you have to see Nim go absolutely above and beyond. He's dropped the spike. He's dropped the second frag here. It's locked down through RDW on a line. A little bit awkward with this Sheriff right now as he doesn't get anything established. Nim is allowed to stay surviving behind this lockdown. But what angle does he look to face? There's Nano as well. Pushes him in the right click. I don't know if it's missed on him completely or if damage got delivered. But nevertheless, it's 2 versus 2 going in towards this plant sign. He gets pressured out from Infrequent, who found Tux, who was low. And that is a recovery round from Wildcard. Bit of an eco through. And it keeps them alive, and we don't see Order find 12 yet.
Trading cards and Japan.
Yeah, look, that's exactly the round Wildcard needed. They can't afford to lose any
Back to
more, though.
Japan
Main
with
factor is
series
here.
and
They've
music
done
today.
some really good damage to the economy of Order, dropping down to just 3.2k in
Chinese.
Disco. And they are going
Very
to
haunting.
look like they're
It's
playing
going
a
to be
slight
haunting
bonus.
a
Yep,
lot of people
okay.
for a long time.
So just a bit of a half buy here. Frenzy for Tux, Sheriff for Disco. Texter has invested quite heavily here, but should at least be able to buy something into the next. That's the thing. Dropping below 2k in this game isn't a massive issue, but Infrequent, ooh, he is taken very, very low for that engage. Super early on the round as well.
I don't want to play with
Yeah, well, you take that, don't you? You've got your showstopper to be able to utilize and offset your HP. So we'll have to probably see that be thrown into the mix here. Texter using all of his stars to escape this location. He's just going to get up close and personal as well, and he's rewarded for it. Tuck somehow manages to find a kill onto RDW off the distance, and around the UC border that they've brought in Barebones with, they might actually convert into victory. Though Swirl has something to say in finding Texter. Hunter's Fury doesn't meet with anything for Order, but this again is just a shaky round. Time being taken away very well favors Order right now. They're not even on towards the defuses have gone through. Tuck takes out the Nebula, finds the first, finds the second, and for a 3k in the round for Order, they find 12.
Match point.
Oof, alright. As quickly as a round for Wildcard came, Order was just first to deny it back. A run up mid to get onto that B site early on, spike down, and great utility usage from Texter as well, sitting in a very, very uncomfortable situation. I was sort of wondering why he didn't get the Cosmic Divide down, but it wasn't needed. He was happy to just sort of continue to throw out those gravity wells and the nebulas to isolate the information and positioning, and ultimately they find the 12th round with Tux going big on the 3K. 19 to 11, now topping the scoreboard deal.
Yeah, we got a pause coming through as well. We could probably get confirmation a little bit on who this is going to be from. I would kind of expect it to be from Wildcard, but it might even be from Order. Just getting that confirmation. It's a double-edged pause. Infrequent has disconnected, so it's technical on that regard, but it's also a tactical to come on through from one of the teams too. So we will sit pretty for the time being and kind of look across the board a little bit here. Nim and RDW are getting the frags to come on out, Mitch, but in the round accumulation, it's really just Order, you know, laying down the law.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, right, you know, now the frags start to really break up, and we do see Order is clearly ahead, but across the board, it hasn't been sort of, you know, what you'd expect. Tux has been doing massive things on that Killjoy. Very happy to sort of solo hold that positioning that he has been, and finding frags in the process. Super sharp and switched on today. You know, Disco hasn't needed to do a whole lot. He's just sort of been happy to get the paint shells out and isolate the positioning. Texter has had a massive amount of impact in this one as well.
And Tux on those multi-frags that we've just seen, and really finding the information for his team, those nano swarms to buy time, the lockdown as well. From a killjoy, you know, on the attacker's side, usually you see that sort of flanking play happen or the post plant strengths, and I mean, it's one of the two that is happening there from him. It's looking really, really
they're taking a selfie.
Again, I'm still really firm that I want Sova's digital eye.
Oh, version 13. I'm 13 to be published.
Sova kind of cute though.
Okay, I'm a 2-2.
Brim is
Thank you, Riley, for keeping us entertained. Brim is chat, you reckon?
Yeah. I actually reckon with the new map coming out in Breathe that Brim might be utilised. Just looking at the open nature of that, for those that might not have seen it yet, there is a lot of positions that need like multiple smokes. So I wouldn't be surprised on that map if we actually get 2 smoking agents like Omen Astra or Astra Brim. Maybe not Astra Brim. Astra could technically do it all by herself if you needed to. You know, you've got the Nebulas and the Dissipates.
Recording's starting to be like looking at
but yeah, we'll have to kind of just see how that is going to turn out. While we do have this extended pause, we'll come over to our faces. So selfies from Riley, selfies from us now.
Well, I was going to say, with the rain coming in from Digital, I have just noticed on the scoreboard that we've got a Bliss 2-0 over Paradox, and a very, very big performance from Bronski there. Obviously, he does run the Duelist. You know, typically we see him on the Reyna or the Jet, depending on the map. And yeah, 44 and 28, 182 ADR, 309 ACS. Very, very, very big series from him. And just checking up on the map scores. So it looks like we did have a 13-7, yep, on Ascent and Bind as well. Yeah, same thing. So well done from Bliss. They will be facing off against straight out of the zoo, basically straight after this series.
As one of the biggest things that we're kind of getting in toward the region right now, that we have seen EXO kind of depart. Now it's the time for Order to step up, but for the other teams as well. You look at the run, a team like Bliss is kind of what a lot of our teams that they're floating in the lower regions, right, want to kind of grow in towards, right? It's a team that are stuck together, it's a team that are growing, they got picked up by an org as well to assist them in their growth, and they're starting to really find their footing, find their mojo to see how far they're going to be able to take this. You know, you put Order at the top in our region so far, and then you're looking at the next spot, you kind of got your Wildcard, Mindfreak, and Bliss sitting in that even second to fourth situation right now. So it really is going to be interesting moving on forward to see if any of those teams are going to really define themselves and keep consistency flowing on through.
Well, it's kind of a really big and open statement right now, right? Like, there is so much grassroots opportunity in Valorant. So, Papa Conk, going to give you a little bit of understanding, right? I'm very much in the mind of, you know, making sure that the middle CS scene develops, because if we don't have a really, really bolstered out middle scene, we don't get to see new players come up, we don't get to see the opportunity, and also keeping the top teams on their toes, right? We saw it to the end of Sonic's tenure inside Oceania. They started getting a little bit complacent. They were so good, they were so far ahead of the curve, and then they started to lose a couple of maps here and there. They were feeling the pressure, went over to NA, really sort of got slapped around by the NA meta, and now they're learning, now they're developing, and they're, you know, pushing their way towards tier 1 in that region. They've taken maps off TSM, they did really well against Sentinels, we ignored the 13-0, so I do stress to everyone here, if you have a little bit of extra time to smash out some comp with your friends, to get better, to learn the game, do it. Because the game is still so new, and people at the top can be knocked out of their pedestals.
Well, that is a pedestal that Texas has been knocked off cleanly. You thought it might go the opposite way with the elevation angle from Ninim there, but for this fresh round, thank you for sticking with us, folks, for that long pause. We had not only infrequent disconnect, but Swell's internet had also died, so that happened to get reconnected. Both phased out. Ninim again, sticking on this angle, firing range through, does get punished in the end. A player advantage for Wildcard, but an exploration attempt.
So still the advantage, infrequent, with the showstopper available, no one showing themselves, but he does find sight. Now, on to just the duelists. If there was 2 people alive, Dion, to get this job done, and you'd want them to be, it would certainly be Autumn and Disco. Autumn going to fight Noz on the first. Slowly picking up the pace. There's the showstopper to come out now, but Infrequent will deny the superior Raze player at the moment. Now they just have to try and bait out RDW here. Autumn certainly has the opportunity to do it with the Emperor still available. Does find another, gets the dismiss around, but will he find the extra shot? You know he will. He has the information. And oh no, not quite. The one before, not pulled off, but he certainly made good work of it. And the Wildcard economy will be feeling that pain.
You see that situation and you just have to look over towards Swirl. If you're in a land environment, as soon as you die, everyone's eyes does go over towards him and his heart starts absolutely beating out of his chest. But he does play on his feet. He is able to best out the frag onto Awesome in the end to keep Wildcard interested in this matchup. Though, for all the damage that was done in that round, Mitch, we get into a sort of strange occurrence now in the bye. Yeah, you've got the Vandals and the Phantoms across the board, but you've got some Light Shields, you've got the Spectres, you've even got a Marshal from Minim. But Infrequent has managed to get a little bit of raised diff in, and Minim, don't count him out with whatever weapon, he's taken the head off, the blades are through, and this is better structured for Wildcard, though don't force it on through, because Order, they can definitely look to bring it back. Tux now has the lockdown, as well as 2 nanos to still play with.
Yeah, hang on a second is basically all we can say. Tux, 2 of 5 have been taken down so far in this 2 versus 5, creeping down into the sewers now, signed with the task of clearing out long, slowly getting that positioning made up in heaven is Swirl. Not going to go for the peak though. So they are actually playing a retake position, which I think is wise. RDW all the way down towards long. Now that Killjoy ultimate to be expended, the lockdown. Swirl is in a position where he can swing around, but it might be wise for him to just wait. And on the other side, they will. So still yet to get this spike planted. They are going to move up now. And it's going to be the full retake for Wildcard.
And the shock darts are available here for Swirl. He's been penetrated down from Tux. RDW eventually has to get out this flank. He waited so long over at the C site, and he is going to have to wait a little bit longer to get over here with Noz. Our drone sent on through from the side gets destroyed. That's one piece of information. Noz does manage to take out Tux. Got a little bit antsy with that one, to be honest with you. Maybe wanting a bit of a Twitter clip. Now all onto Sign, not expecting the delayed flank from RDW through long. So Wildcard, they do survive with 2, but that could have got even more sticky, right? Tux, if he wins that duel against Noz, it turns upside down, and then RDW is put in a potential crossfiring line from Order.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure does really start to amount there. But that's the thing, right? Order, despite losing these last couple of rounds, they just continue to do damage. The money isn't great. This round, at least, they will have a full buy-in. Swirl, not sure what he'll end up with. They're going to sell a little bit, maybe send him over a Vandal or a Phantom, which at least is enough. But yeah, man, Tux with 3 really does make it sticky for Wildcard. But the game's not done just yet, Dion, which is kind of nice to see. We do have the 5 sheriffs come out for the Order side. They can still get it done, but man, pressure still there.
Not incarnate, the devil.
Pressure is certainly here. Autumn allowed to creep up through garage. Paint shells to be sent on through as well. Texture to lay down all of these stars to see how they're going to get in toward the site. The smokes are here. Do have the gravity well to be utilized as well. It is actually going to pull him off of the launch. I think no, RDW's actually just jumped him down. He's revealed himself in that situation, and because of it, he pays the ultimate price in death. Now Autumn finds Noz, and a round like this, for Order to be able to finish on, I mean, that's very unfortunate for Wildcard if it does come out this way, but they will be going into it with everything. Into what's post point now with the player advantage for Order.
It's like, oh my absolute
I think the gravity well actually did pull him off that, which means he had to make the audio. Now Minim going to be taken down as well by Autumn, leaving it into a 2-on-4, make that a 1-on-4. This should be all she wrote, unless Swirl can do something incredible. He is a player who you do see in these situations will recover the Vandal. 5 bullets, has to reload.
If you have
Gravity,
a dream,
sorry,
tell me the
Cosmic
lies
Divide
and
is
not the
down, has
dream.
come up now, yep.
Moving
On in, Recon Bolt destroyed turret, also the exact same light. We are going to see the swing though, and Autumn will close, and there we have it, a 13-7 victory in map number 1 for Order.
Social sword.
Yeah, that thrift didn't come on through as well for Wildcard. You know, on paper they would look to be able to close that one out, but you look about the good timing from Order and the good combination of their deployment. You know, RDW to try and do what he could over at those logs, put his cage down, but the sheriff just gets him out. Noz good for one, gets traded on through as well. So for Order, I mean, even with the struggles and purchase, they still have their fundamentals laid down pat, and it works out very nice for them at the end. They didn't really feel any pressure in that round. It felt like completely, and I mean, you could kind of translate that over to the whole map, right? When they had their string of rounds, they weren't really faltering at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and obviously off the back of that composure, they do win out the map quite dominantly, and that is fans, obviously. Wildcards Mappic as well. We've got Bind just around the corner. I'm excited though, Dion, because we could see those new Asian combinations come out from the order side, guys. We're going to go to a very, very short break. Please don't go anywhere. Thanks for sticking around. And the Valorant Oceania Tour is just back around the corner.
Wow, you're awesome. I'm not loving you out forever. You know what can happen to me because I can't afford voice life. But I need to separate it. Life and life, you know.
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi, which finally means Wi-Fi in all four corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Yeah, we do. See ya.
Catch.
Yeah. Super Wi-Fi. Wall-to-wall Wi-Fi guaranteed.
Like that saying, fuck Wi-Fi. Definitely fuck Wi-Fi. Yeah. All day, all night, all day, all night. I'm so lonely. Fuck guys. There's the one guy, right? All the vampires. There's that movie. Okay. Now is the time. Thanks for making something. Let's go. Let's listen. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yes, I agree with you. Sure.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for what will be map number 2 between Order versus Wildcard. We did see them come through with a pretty dominant opening map on Haven, 13-7. Wildcard had a few, good shines of brightness, but it was really Order to just very much adapt to their playstyle and not sort of get overwhelmed by any means. So super stable, super consistent, and they win out 13-7.
And of course, a quick little housekeeping while we are on this front right now, Mitch. The loser of this game will be going up against the winner of the Straight Out of the Zoo and Team Bliss that will be coming up after this match as well. 3 best of 3s that we are going to be running it through today. It is a big day for us. It is a big day for production. It is a big day for all the guys in the server as well.
Woo!
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we enjoy though, right? Despite it being a very, very long day, honestly, it's lockdown for me. I wouldn't have it any other way. Otherwise, I'd be sitting downstairs drinking a beer, being very sad with my housemates. So I'm happy to have some Tier 1 Valorant coming across your guys' eyes right now with a little bit of a refresher on the maps that we do have in hand. So we did see Icebox get removed by Order, understandably, despite that they are good at the map. Wildcard exactly could be the same thing. The only real team that we saw contest Order much on Split was, obviously former EXO, now Sonics, and then Haven, Bind, and Ascent. Ascent is a really cool map for it to come down, but I think pressure really does start to abound now onto Wildcard to take Bind because, it'd be surprising to see this go to a quick 2-0.
Yeah, it was.
As a quiet, you can have pen drop, you can not ring the pen. You meant chocolate drop.
You look at Bliss compared to Order.
Chocolate's
Bliss pushed
awesome.
Order into overtime on a couple of maps, but it wasn't on Bind, it wasn't on Haven.
You
So
should
bringing
name
those on
chocolate,
out yesterday,
actually.
it was a bit of an unknown factor for Bliss, where
Fuck
Order
with it,
kind of
man.
just trampled all over them. So
Give it to
it's back to
chocolate.
the drawing board
Chocolate
for Bliss,
delivery
and it is
passes.
also in a similar fashion
Chocolate.
back to the drawing board for Wildcard right now, going into this next map in Bind. Because of the agent lineup we saw from Order yesterday, and we heard from Tux that it was their very first time playing it. They didn't crack it at all. They come out of the, with a really big win on that one. It does lead up in the question, what lineup are we going to see from Bind for Order here?
And that's what I love about a team like Order, though, right? They're obviously at the top of the leaderboards right now, 100 points. They already have made themselves. They'll get into, I believe, what is it, 4th seed in the entire competition, I believe, something like that. If they, win out this one this morning, so this afternoon now. But that means that they're sort of still in a position where they're like, okay, we don't need to just go out and dominate every single game. We can try new agent selections because, again, at the end of the day, as we've discussed numerous times, it doesn't really matter. You can still click the head with the rifle when you've got it. It doesn't, I know it's sort of going to change the way that the teams play, utility dynamic, everything along those lines, but I love that Order have the confidence to actually take this out because we saw something similar from Wildcard and it wasn't actually successful for them in the past. But without further ado, let's get Bind underway. Map number 2. It is, of course, the map selection of Order Bind. A very, very challenging map to have on the attacking side unless you are fully synergized, and I think Order are in that position right now. Once again, Dion, it is the 2021 Oceania Valorant Tour. We have been loving bringing this to you guys so regularly during the course of the start of the year. Let us dig into map number 2 in Bind.
What?
Kongmoto coming on through. I think that's the first time we might have even said it this broadcast, but everybody who's watching may already know of our name. If you don't, that is our little play name. Bring it on through. Mitch, do we have a prediction coming on through for this one here? Is it 2-0 or are we going map 3?
Let's see what.
I was thinking that, you know, it was actually going to be Haven taken by Wildcard as we came into this one, but then early on, you know, despite it being 4-4 at one point to close out 13-7, did surprise me and catch me off a little bit. So with that being said, I think we should be seeing a 2-0 here for Order, but also I want Wildcard to really push them to the limit because both of these teams, this isn't elimination, this is obviously the winner taking themselves to the grand final. And if they do lose, they've got to play another one later in the day. So let's see how both of these teams go.
Alright, no Cypher, no Sentinel on the side of Killjoy rather for Order. They've brought out the
There it is. The Sky.
Badgering of Flashes. The Badgering of Flashes. Breach and Sky. A little bit of heals in the mix as well. The Astras are here for his side. And then you got, of course, Disco and Autumn over on Order, bringing out those duelists. This is where things get really interesting. We saw how dominating Order were yesterday against Bliss with this composition. Wildcard, a bit of a different Tenyon team. Let's see what this pistol does turn out with.
IDW is contesting for it too, jumping in, does get the right click onto Texter, but won't quite find him. That's the damage expended by Tux. The frenzy is still powerful, and now with the breach and the Sky flashes coming out.
The comfort
Gonna
of
force
the
them
same
off
one
the way,
was
so Texter very, very low inside the showers. Great shot up from Swell, being able to take him down now infrequent. Making his way into U-Haul, holding firmly though, has to wait for the contest. The information's now gathered. He's actually going to choose to fall away from there. Still a 4-4 on the stalemate.
I don't know if there's any stars over for Noz either to be able to put in toward the U-Hole to be able to concuss them or gravity weld them right now. But a lot of frags being accumulated by Order. That is a very, very quick succession of them. Good shot out from Noz here, but with only 50 HP. He is 1 or 2 shots away from losing his life. And there's the headshot from Tux. Gets the job done in the end. 3 life for Order. Pretty damaging pistol round to come on through.
Yep, well done. Super nicely played by Tux in that position. And obviously from Disco with the double as well. So we do see a disappointed face, I think, from the knife coming out from Noz there. And also some powder damaging. But first round, Order, great start. Playing on the offensive side. Can be a challenge at times, especially if the team isn't really feeling it, but that's been very clear in this series that Order certainly understands each other as a player. They're super happy to make everything work, and Signs gets the opening pick here. Good flashpoint, Disco. Oh no, infrequent dead as well. So much utility getting the job done earlier. This should be a very quick and clean, flawless round. Unless Swell's got something to say about it, but it's going to be Autumn to find him. And yeah, Order, excellent start.
That was the only bit of damage that we saw from Wildcard in that round as well. That last engagement there from Swell on towards Autumn. It was almost a perfect counter for Order there. You know, Wildcard getting up in towards short. You see the flashpoint get thrown in there from Breach, and then the boombot and the grenade, the paint shells in from Disco. Just really gotten everything done that they needed to throw us into this new bonus round.
16 other husbands.
I don't know what Autumn's doing right now, but I don't know the last time that I've seen a Jet bring out an Odin. Yeah! Okay. What's the plan with this one? Is it to wallbang into, I'm not too sure. Frequent gets the opener. Texter finds the trade. Looks like he's aiming over towards the triple box right now, but he is up on that side position. Gets spotted out by the camera. It's going to be RDW to at least gather that information. Main factor is here. Texter is low, but Disco's dropped RDW, and now it's going to be the 3 rotating members to try and deny this side position that Order have already collected with the spike going down.
That ring has got a cash in
Player advantage for Order here as well. Nim coming up in the heavens. The remaining 2 coming down through the vent area. Aldrin to be sent in through towards U-Hole. It is going to get attacked from Sign, and the head gets taken off of Autumn as well. The push on out though, Disco manages to decapitate Ninim, and this split affair for Order. They need to make sure they're finding the frags. The judge is dirty in lamps, shuts out the lights of Noz. Now on to LaSwirl. Versus 2, brings out some util, the recon bomb. They don't have the strength, they do in the end. It's Disco, they don't know where Texter is.
That's the one with the braces. I need to buy these braces. That's right. I forgot.
It's
I've got problems with
too easy right now at the moment for Order. I mean, they did take a little bit of damage there, but that was the bonus.
Can I borrow
they were able to collect. Felt a
just
little
need
bit
my belly and you'll be fine.
okay.
You need a belly anyway, just gonna.
They were toying with it. It's just going to be Autumn holding on to that Odin. I did see Sign pick up a secondary,
Oh,
but no
and it's turn
Wildcard.
us
They're back
down.
with the
Oh,
Sheriffs
Jesus.
of obviously very well equipped with the aim to get the job done.
Keeping wrong here.
But yeah, man, very
Just
dominant
shows,
start
I'm
from
just
Order.
showing wrong
Looking
here.
convincing
Told
as it
you,
stands.
yeah.
Still plenty of opportunities for Wildcard to get their way back into it though.
And it's a scary thing as well, if Wildcard let Order get
No,
any
it's
more
scary.
rounds, essentially, if they get up towards 5,
It's
that's just
scary,
going to be
don't it's
extremely
scary, don't
damaging
think it's
and
scary.
harmful to be able to be brought back for
Use the
Binders,
fight as
technically
a
that
down,
defensive side of the side
as
of
many
map,
people
but
do
when you've got a
now.
Breach and when you've got a Sky, when you've got so many blinders
Look at
coming
Disco.
through, it
Oh,
really
that's
just
the
does become
deal.
difficult. Texter picks up a lot of frags into this bit. Disco as well, we're going to see what he could do, but Mitch, really, this is just like the half buy of the Sheriffs to see what they're going to be able to throw on through with. Next round, Wildcard will have a purchase
I
again.
guess good
But if
deal.
they drop that, I mean, when are we going to see them get on the board?
Never.
RDW, oh no, the 145 in one, curse. Yay,
That's
see it.
how it.
For 5 HP,
Mother.
Autumn. In an awkward situation, Swirl though, in a 1 versus 3. Does have the recon bolt available to send it over to the opposing side of the site. Will be destroyed early on, gathers no information. He's got so much to clear here. The aftershock to at least isolate can't. Oh, he hits it in the end. Does fire the warning shot on towards side, gets the shock dart
I
up.
was
He still
thinking
has so
of a
much to
beach,
find.
but
Hunter's Fury is available, but without the Aldrone, without the recon bolt, it is always a little bit of a gamble. Especially when you can default up towards that location. All it's going to take is just one bullet, goes for the swing, but side gets the wallbang, gets the shot, despite a valiant effort from Swirl. Order collects their 4th.
Pretty decent rounds to come through, all things considered, for Wildcard. 3 picks on the back of the Sheriffs as well. It tickles the economy just a little bit of Order and keeps their hands a little bit dirty going through. But with what they did in the showers, they absolutely cleaned house, cleaned up those dirty hands. Wildcard finally, Mitch, they do have a purchase coming through. Ninham has the Bladestorm available as well. Kind of would have liked to see him drop over a Vandal to Noz here, just to make sure that the full shields does get purchased up from Noz. He even has 500 spare, but yeah, he needs the 600 for that one. Coming on through, Mitch. Wildcard. They have to be able to find this, and you look at Order's ultimate department, a Rolling Thunder and the Seekers for so much information gain. They have what it takes to get in toward this B site.
Swirl. Awkward spot now. Couple of shock darts down, nothing going to find just yet. And there's the Rolling Thunder that you mentioned. Gonna force the members in elbow back away. Autumn still watching towards the top. Guiding light from Tux though. They're gonna contest for this one, Dion. The Cosmic Divide is available. The Trailblazer though does gather the info as you mentioned. Swell though, good for 1. So that gets the trade. Now Ninham to fire up. Now they're just pushing through at this point. Damage has been dealt. It's all left onto Autumn. Does have the Odin available. Will take 1, 2. Not quite the 3rd though. Noz to close it. That round though was pretty much thrown away by Order.
Yeah, pretty chaotic in the end as well. You could see the congestion down toward the elbow. They utilised the Rolling Thunder, the Seekers, and the Cosmic Divide. Couple of guiding lights to get thrown in through for Tux there, but with the pushes that just come on through as well, maybe do give up the bag, as you said there, a little bit. The first round on the board for Wildcard, and it's kind of flipped in the department of the Ultimates as well. Yeah, we saw Ninham bring out the Bladestorm, didn't really get anything done, but the rest of the crew do have their ults to be able to play with. And I think in a situation like this, you might even see Wildcard go for a little bit of aggression, you know, use that the showstopper in from Infrequent, get backed up by maybe the dart of Swirl as well, see what they want to do. It definitely is leaning over towards the showers here. They only have Ninham at B with that off.
That is salt in the wound right there for Infrequent. Showstopper at his toes. The old Trailblazer up and out. I meant the updraft, that's what I was going for. There's so many things in my head as the Trailblazer does finally come out. RDW though. Okay. Flipping on its head a little bit here. Noz with 3. Man, this is getting a little bit chaotic right now.
I wonder what happened there with Tux. He said he goes onto the Trailblazer and you just see it dive straight into the wall and then explode. And in the end of it, they line up for Noz through the Nebula as well. A bit unfortunate there for Order, as you also saw RDW off on that kill feed be able to pick up 2.
Regardless,
Get the
it is another
chest.
round that Wildcard will be welcoming with open arms. They carry over the operator, of course, as well in the hands of Ninum, and now for a different deployment affair. Thought that Ninum might have updrafted very early on to come up on that box, but he's going to just post up on
I
that
forgot
box.
to touch
Guiding Light
once
sent in
and
through
get
showers.
rid of it.
Tux is just going to be holding
You
back. Look at the
see
creep up
them
from
like
Wildcard.
shit
They're already
from
pushing
this.
up through short and frequent.
On your drive.
He is going to probably decapitate Tux from behind
It's
here.
actually exhausting, but
And there it is.
it is.
So at an advantage again. Wildcard put themselves in the position to continue to hold RDW. Gathering his way across to the cubby. Doesn't quite find the headshot though. The wire destroyed. Does connect the shot in the end. And he actually gets the dink across as well. Good damage expended by RDW. Infrequent picks up 3 in the round as well. Swirl to drop another. The pacing has certainly been picked up by Wildcard, but Order. I mean, that round was, you know, well and truly more legitimate, but I feel like by Order not exactly taking the third round or fourth round seriously. Wildcard have picked up the pacing behind them now, very like well and truly as well.
Yeah, they capitalised on that one, and again, you know, the unfortunate events in it where I mentioned Infrequent's push through towards short, it was a smart push as well because he had a player to be able to clear the other side of the short area down towards your market, so Wildcard definitely went in with that one with a plan. I don't know if we can really say the same thing for Order. They kind of just held each other's hands and ran at the same time, except for leaving Tux over at the other side of the map. For this one, however, back over towards the B side, dashing toward the cloudburst from Autumn, flash on through to Swell, who actually does lose his life in this situation. Now it's on the Noz to potentially hold down the fort, which is also put 6 feet under. This is looking awkward now for Wildcard.
No.
Yeah, maybe you would have just had a little bit of fun with it at this point. Why would you? Wildcard Infrequent has managed to find 2 on the retake in. The paint shells are available, but Side locking it down. RDW is going to jump over the bullets though, leaving it all down onto Disco and Tux. Holding inside, the guiding line is available, just waiting to see once someone gets onto that spike defuse. Waiting patiently, Showstopper narrowly will miss. There you go. Guiding line, but it's going to be Ninum to find a shot. Tux has a big task ahead, but it's going to be Infrequent. And they were already on that spike defuse at the exact same time. The so Order straight back into a 4-on-4.
4-on-4 evened on through. It was just a little bit of that half line to come through for Order as well. They got in toward the site, but maybe it was a little bit of an overstep, you know, to start to push through towards Elbow, giving an opportunity for Wildcard to get situated into amongst that retake from behind as well. It was the 3 versus 5 that they're going in with, but nevertheless, the judge is a destructive weapon. We saw RDW jump over them bullets and got them started in toward that retake. Ninum was a gun round though, Mitch. You've still got that operator for Ninum here, and you've got a deployment from RDW in amongst the U-hole. They're really favouring an A play to come through for Order again, who have the entry available of the Rolling Thunder and the Seekers to deploy upon a little bit later. I didn't quite catch it. Who else would be close toward some ultimates on the side of Order? They potentially could be, you know, farming up on it in a situation like this.
So yeah, Texas on time with Autumn. Yep. So just playing it nice and slow. Wildcard have been pretty passive throughout the course of this game as well. Not really trying to take any hookah or long control. Happy to play it back from elbow and other items. But there's the Seekers to come out from Tux now. Straight onto the site is Autumn. Now Noz has to destroy that one. Still does have the Cosmic Divide available if he does so choose to use it. But Autumn actually going to push through the Nebula, get away with murder there. Over towards CT, does fire a couple of warning shots. Damage will be expended. RDW goes down to the hand of Disco, but now the Hunter's Fury could look to do a fair bit, but unfortunately the Showstopper doesn't quite connect for Disco. But it is still a 5-on-3 deal. Lots of work the Wildcard need to do to get back into this round.
Now, certainly so. Order, they are going to be dropping down the Cosmic Divide now as well. And they do have the lockdown of the fort around B. Not an actual lockdown. Tux ain't back on toward that Killjoy, but now looking to close this one out flawlessly. A missed shot from Ninum has stashed away. As takes out as well. They're just going to look to run away from it. Good shot onto Autumn though. Bit ambitious to be able to push through when tagged on up, but nevertheless, Order will take the lead here.
Family holiday for Autumn then, if that's the case.
Yeah, man, Order coming back. Nice and clean.
Levy Creek Tara.
They are doing very, very well to sort of force
Seems to have bought a
Wildcard out.
caravan.
That's the thing,
I
right?
see.
I did mention the passive nature
Caravan
from this
bought.
team. They're happy to, push back and just wait for order to come to them. But that's not exactly something I think you can do every single round. Sure, if you get aggressive all the time, you put yourself in a position where you likely might get caught off guard. But what I would like to see is, maybe that double up in hookah, maybe two trying to sort of take some long control positioning. They're not really utilizing Swell's kit to get that early advantage. Maybe leaving RDW back on the site, setting an additional member towards B with them early, and then maybe getting the rotate after. But Autumn Bladestorm out. He's already up in towards U-Haul. Minim does get put into an awkward situation as well, and the Cloudburst is the only thing that's going to let him out.
Imagine the RDW setup in U-Haul this time with Autumn getting so up close and personal in this area. Could have definitely seen it on the favour for Wildcard, and certainly not right now as Disco and Autumn are getting things absolutely established. Two quick right clicks, and it's all down to RDW on a big flank who can't unfortunately get a single frag in the round. Forced to come through for Order as they now look to tie up the half at least, but they're going to be trying to just continue this role and try to make it a dominating fashion half.
So back into it. Already 6, 2 more rounds. They'll move obviously onto the defending side after this. We'll be interested to see how Wildcard go. If they don't come in with at least an equal scoreline here in this half, it is definitely going to be an uncomfortable situation for them.
Like totally French.
Lots and lots of pressure to be expended accordingly. But now Autumn creeping on up, looking to make his way in. Good use of the guiding light. RDW does get the cage down. Information gathered. There's one with the judge. He pushes down in. Neural theft will be expended. They're just on the outside. Guiding light doesn't quite connect. You're right.
Spike down.
1-on-1 trades coming on through. Wildcard with the player advantage. Order yet to establish the plant. It looks to slow down a little bit here, but in Frequent's position, it's absolutely paramount. He manages to find Autumn as well. Sign bites back for one with him and Texter. What are they going to be able to do?
Still plenty of work.
Yes, you motherfucker.
Slowly creeping on around now. Spike available. Sign should be able to grab that one in just a second. Main factor is here, at least Nineveh is quite a fair while away, and there is only one star that's down right now as well, which has been turned into a nebula, so rotating around. And I think with that angle that is being watched by a Nineveh, it might be a success.
Oh, the timing.
Leaving Texter. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, oof.
Texter's going to have to use the TP here as well to quickly get over to water or go in the back lanes. It's looking like he's going to opt for the latter. How does he play this one, though? He has brought back that star that was in the teleporter, so at least goes down now to assist for his teammate inside. If he uses that as a gravity well, Signs might be able to get something happening right now. However, going into it, that might even be of the other side. I can't tell who exactly that star's from. It's probably Orders. One, but in toward the back lanes. Here's Texter shooting out shots. He's missed it. He might have given up the go in this one, Mitch.
No.
Yeah, look, Sign picks up one more. Now we do have the fault line, which does take the defuse into an awkward situation. Sign does some further damage through, but it's Texter to close. And a 2 versus 3 is a little bit too easy for this duo. As Order selects 7. That was great utility usage from both of them. The Astral Star replaced onto the gravity well to isolate, and then of course the fault line on towards the side. The aftershock was also utilised. And Order take the lead in the half, and as we spoke about, it seems like it will be a relatively simple 2-0 at this point in time.
Yeah, for right now, it definitely is aligning that way, isn't it? Well, we might see some explosiveness from Wildcard in the next half. If they gather this round, it'll make things a little bit easier for them as well. They have brought out the op into this round. The start goes through very early for Swell. That'll be able to catch a bunch of information up through the short of A. Does actually get destroyed by Disco early on as well. The Owl drone, however, cements a little bit of information onto Autumn's location, and Ninim dispatching of Texter early on is actually a really big frag. That is the smokes all completely gone for Order, except for the cloudbursts of Autumn. But Disco down as well. This is a much better foundation for Wildcard.
Yeah, they need this one. And once again, it will be the judges inside Hookah. This is a map where it is very important. Swell, ready. Yeah. I think I can agree with you. Definitely does make it painful, but does make it exciting when you're not playing it.
You have your phone.
Personally, not a fan of going from like 3 wins away from Radiant all the way down to Diamond 2, but that is how it feels to play Valorant. In solo queue, Noz to close it, a flawless for Wildcard. It's not going to matter because it is the last round of the half. But now we move into it. It is going to be the secondary half order on the defensive side here. And I think if Wildcard don't pick up this pistol, that might be where they really start to let this one slip out of their hold.
Team Ace. It's very rare that you see Team Aces come through, actually. One pick across the board for everybody. But IDW got more than one.
So what
do we need to see, Neon? Second half, Wildcard in the offensive position. Order. We know how good their defense is, given the fact that they leave minimal holes. They still like to take that early control, like we already do have Autumn inside hookah.
Don't want to be pinned down by a
Tux
sniper.
creeping around, making sure the guided light is available.
Tactics.
Tex are taking control of showers, and
No
IDW
cold shower.
looking to head towards that
Hot
position,
shower.
but it's going to be a straight-on run up, and Tex is going to be full focused on towards the side, meaning IDW might be able to catch him off, but Oz is going to take him down first.
And Tux is overlooking the corner where IDW is as well. That is a mistake. Now IDW gets out a frenzy. Again, much better situated round for Wildcard off the get-go, but Order, they definitely are hungry for this retake. Look at the containment in amongst you all right now as well. 4 players in Wildcard. This is where things get absolutely chaotic. If Order are able to get a good fault line over towards that location. Oh dear, I'm just thinking about it right now. IDW does get tagged out. It goes over towards his location as well. Scienzo takes the kill, gets Dinky out, gets the frag. Things are starting to happen for Order. 2 versus 2 into the U-Haul. He swings out, got the paint shells through. Now Disco 8 HP will give at it in the end by Noz. The Wildcard pick up pistol. They're knocking on the door of Order now, Mitch.
They are indeed. That was a great pistol round to open up. Noz did have to go pretty big. I got a little bit worried when Disco started to find the frags, but now very well played to get their way back into this. Again, the pressure will start to really press down on them if they are unsuccessful into a couple of these attacking-sided rounds, but if they can ride the wave, keep the momentum behind them, and they can sort of carve their way towards taking the lead back.
Let's see how the beginning stages play out here. Order trying to funnel in through Infrequent, caught with Util out. Does give over the Spike and a Spectre. Star to get put down and obscure some of the visions here, forcing out the Owl drone, though we do see that Wildcard have lost a player in the mix. There's 2 that have been dropped for Order, so keeping out the balance in a round where you would expect Wildcard to be able to pick it up quite cleanly. They are starting to do so. It's just down to Science.
When I was
He
awake,
is able to find IDW.
time
Should get
ago,
taken out from here.
That dink. It's good to see that the classic doesn't always one-shot headshot with that little shotgun burst nowadays. Imagine if the Glock
Sawn
burst did
off.
that. That would be
Remember.
absurd.
Please no.
But yeah, no, we don't want that at all. So the
really?
bonus remains on the side of Wildcard. What does Infrequent do? That's the question.
Actual,
Over
really?
before him by Ninham. Instead, he's going to go for the Sheriff.
309.
One shield.
309.
So it's tied up on the scores. Full purchase, obviously, in for Order. It's going to be a very challenging position, and that's a good guiding light out from the start. That's just information. He doesn't get a collapse. He doesn't get any frags off of it, but just straight up. You get blinded, you get info.
Fight.
One of the big things as well with the composition of Order, you know, the Sky compared to the Sova, who's able to gather out more information and everything. You've got the flashes of Sky and the heals, which, you know, can lead over to some massive things. The Seekers use for information, not so much just looking to get those near sides through, but as we ramble on, there is a good gravity well that Tux can't quite capitalize upon. Swirl is able to escape with 2 there in that situation, and this is just a very strange start to the round that Wildcard are absolutely capitalizing upon. The bonus is there right now, Mitch, and they found 3 kills, make it not a 4. Autumn finds
It's going to be the new
IDW.
John.
Texter though, tagged down
So
by
hot
the
though that
Marshall.
it's blinding in the humanity that much that
The main factor is here is Autumn's position. positioning,
get
right? He's
me.
already got
Steady
over towards short. He managed to push down mid
Steady
earlier
up,
on. Does get some
around
information
it.
now. Tags him through the box.
Proper
We'll
names,
have to creep
no.
away.
No.
4 members still alive, but
Kai,
obviously it is Ninham
Kaya
that's still
wouldn't
keeping
ask
Texter
before.
over at bay.
If I had
And I think Autumn
a
might
boy,
actually
I'd call
start
him
to back out
Kaya.
here. So this little dance of the jewels between
Or
Ninham and
sweet
Texter
Jane for a girl.
it's basically just an ego flex at the moment. They're both so low. 1 HP. Ninham with the classic Ninham peak. And now infrequent, the last man standing. If Ninham takes him down, sorry, no, it's Autumn rather. That's a teammate. Autumn's just going to try and save this Phantom to the next round. So Wildcard win the bonus, and they take the half into their favour.
Comprende, monsieur. It's half Spanish, half French.
Well, we needed to see a big start for Wildcard on this side to try to send us into map number 3 in Ascent. It's been a while since I've actually casted some Ascent. We haven't seen it
Corporation of Rhinoceros.
at all. We didn't see it on Friday. Or maybe we saw it once. Just trying to bring it back. We didn't see it yesterday here. Well, now it's actually keeping me intrigued. I don't actually think we've seen Ascent at all. So that'll be a good welcome change. We had,
Ooh.
what was it, Haven, Bind, and Split
Superman.
for the Friday. Yeah, no, we haven't seen Ascent.
Cool. Ascent, good map. I like it. I think, obviously, you know, it can be
That's more
frustrating given the
me.
fact
I
that
don't
it really
like how
does
they
force
really enjoy
a smokes,
skirmish
but
on the floor.
I
And
like it
men
at the
and
exact
men
same merit, you
and
know,
women.
especially if you've got the Omen
And
flex.
not weird
The
possessions,
Astronaut,
man.
obviously a big impact as
I
well,
like
despite
that.
not being a
Yeah,
primary
just
smoking
punch
agent.
them. Punch them.
It does mean
Like,
that, you know,
know,
it does really
cut
encourage the
them,
team to take
knee
that
them.
early mid presence, and if they let
Knock
it
them
up, they have
fuck
to
out.
force the
Proper
matter
style.
somewhere else. So I do enjoy watching these teams really
Wrestling's
contest on a set.
fun. It makes me horny. How can you do that? That's terrible.
We're
Takes
on
me
Bind
wrestling
right now.
with it.
Wait to see if we do get that third final map for these two. Because remember, winner of this goes into that grand final. Play for the big points.
Play for fun.
Swirl. It's not going to spot out too much in terms of actual player locations, but it does clear some corners that Wildcard don't have to look over to again, or maybe just a quick flick to clear them out. 40 seconds now. This is becoming pretty dire for Wildcard to get something happening. Dart sent in, but they're rotating to B. And Order, they aren't budging.
Fucking shit. Don't go to sleep. Oh
That's Big
man.
Hurt. Ninham does get a great pick, but same thing. The only man, I suppose the only thing is that Tux is in an awkward spot. The gravity well does force him away. And now free fragment towards Wildcard on the response.
The humans,
It's all left to just that one member inside.
fucking terrible.
And that should be a very clean round. Ninham is going to take him down very, very low. 5 points
Too
of HP.
much
And he does
profanities
hit the
for
shot.
me.
So
Too
Ninham
much
has been
swearing
crazy
involved.
consistent
I think I'm
here
gonna have to
on the
complain.
map of Bind. Wildcard
Because they're fucking
edging closer
cutting.
towards victory. But I haven't had an answer
Sorry,
for it.
middle of the night.
And I
It's
suppose
middle of the night.
Tux
It's
on
adult
that
time.
Sky, despite getting a fair bit of information through the form of the
Order
guiding light, he hasn't
tomorrow.
really done much with it.
Defensive side structure for Order right now is, you know, all about finding that information early, it seems. And whilst they have managed to find some of that information, they haven't really capitalized on it. We've heard a couple of blinders come out
My
and
sheet's
touch, but,
just metal.
you know, they're no real
It's
pushing
not
because
normal.
the difference between, I guess you could say, from a Sky and a Sova,
And then
you
the
got that
really, really
recon
older
bomb, it
ones,
actually
they get up
pings
at 3 o'clock in
locations.
the morning,
Blinders
so you're
don't.
never,
Unless
you're
you
never
use the
safe.
Trailblazer and ping yourself,
You
you're
never just
pretty
get
much
on it,
down
you
to the
know.
informational count there. But regardless,
Special
Tux has
people.
managed to open up onto Ninham. Does get traded
In
in
fact,
at the
this
end.
part
You would love
this
to see
was
Science
this
be able
area
to
of
trade
Dodge
as
City.
well. And he's going to be forced
Arkansas.
back.
Arkansas. It's
F7
just
away.
outside the Wizard of Oz territory.
So still
Very
a
good.
standoff, a stalemate. 4 versus 4. Minute 14 left on the clock. Plenty of time to work with.
Showboating is really bad.
And they've got to play it somewhat slow and consistent. Still do have RDW. Looking around mid, the orb will be gathered. No showstopper available for Infrequent for a little while. Guess the main factor is here the Cosmic Divide available. Same with the Hunter's Fury. That one's going to be expended right now. Autumn does manage to find RDW. Does clean him out a little bit, I guess. They've done some damage and forcing Sign out of that location, but Infrequent will take him down as a result of it. Now it's a 3-on-3. They're already on the site, and Order are immediately starting to collapse on this location.
This is huge from Autumn as well. If he can find the right timing and toward this, he might be able to really assist his team. The Gravity Well is going to keep all of the Wildcard boys contained to the back of the site and almost just become a single point of action for Order to put all their focus on towards. But they don't know that just yet. They don't have any reconnaissance over to that position. Autumn, he needs to clear everything out. Extra swirl, good for one apiece. Disco comes out, he forces both of the players. Now Autumn finds the first one. It's on to Swirl to be able to hold the fort for his side. Shots out through the
Oh, he knows.
get a little bit of damage. He gets out of it. The blades here from Autumn. Now this is where you would look for him to stick it. Is he going to do so? The stampede of footsteps from him is through the wall. And Swirl, no, can't get it done. For the clutch to come down, but Blade doesn't get him through. But the Autumn peak, is it better than the Ninim peak? No.
Swirl does find the 3K, but unfortunately not the defusal. It is always risky going for that wall bang onto the other side of the spike location, but again, as we mentioned, Wildcard, they hold on to the lead. Order over Lease found something back. That's the momentum that they could use, but by having it go down to a one-on-one clutch, Dion, look at the purchase that we've got, but obviously from what we did see in the previous half, that Judge still can have some big impacts.
Dart lined up. Clearance of the showers. The Nebula is going to pull some of that vision for right now. Order, going in a round such as this, you might really want to rely upon your ultimates to be able to assist you. Definitely deny the spike from going down. Rolling Thunder and Showstopper specifically. Seekers can gather some of that information early. Texter though, he does get seen out by the Owl drone. Doesn't tag him, so he can't be over punished for it right now, but if he goes through this smoke, that's definitely the punishment that will be laid down. They look to do it with a flashpoint. Thanks to Ninim utilize the tailwind, and they're just going to get out of there now. Seekers brought through from Tux though, very early on.
They may be a bit soft yet. I hate feeling pain. I don't like that. I like that, but that can just shut
So
off.
any more damage? Not just yet.
I feel it.
They did gather a lot of info there, however.
That's a one tap.
That's kind of nuts.
It's like pain, got pain, but
It sounds like you're surprised though. Like Autumn doesn't do that on the absolute
it's
daily.
fucking going in my veins.
It is Swirl to deny Texter. Are they going to be aware of this position of Disco? They will, because the neural theft will spot him before he swings around with the Judge, however. He's going to be getting out of there. It's going to be too easy as you like it. Autumn to find the final kill on the flank as well. So Order are back into business here, 9-9. And this game, I guess, has certainly been an interesting one.
Quick combination at the end there, but after Tux brought out the Seekers, you know, it kind of forced Wildcard's hand over was the ace sight at the end there. That one tap certainly as well, catching them off guard, potentially does sit down. But the quick combo, as I mentioned it there, the Rolling Thunder and the Showstopper at the same time does make Wildcard very, very vulnerable, and they tried to do what they could with the cage being deployed there from IDW, but it just didn't work out in the end. We get tied up, Mitch, and this is where things start to get really, really interesting. The later stages of the game, any slip-ups here is where you could probably see one team just win it out. So everything needs to be just really backed on up with gusto.
I've just seen as well 0 COVID cases today in WA. God bless. Probably going back to work on Tuesday, which is good but bad. Working from home is not a problem. Just funny, like
you got a day off on Monday.
yeah,
Public
it's
holiday.
that long weekend. It's that long weekend, and that's why everyone was sad. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're kidding? I have to go lockdown on the holiday?" Like, bruh.
We don't get that here, that day off, but Ninim, he's going to give Autumn this round off right now. Likewise, assigned as well. Huge entries, one away from the Bladestorm that if he plays, could be able to get, but there's a Showstopper available for infrequent as well. And gap in this smoke here, Disco's looking to exploit it, but it's going to be forced back.
Yeah, great entries in from Ninim, allowing the site nice and easily for Wildcard. This is the round where they can turn the tides again, and it looks like immediately Order are actually going for the save call as well. Happy to hold their rifles into the next round unblameably. Wildcard taking the lead back with 10. This is definitely being a tight game, but I don't know. I'm trying to explain it, put it into words. It's an up and down one. I certainly think like Order probably weren't taking it super seriously in the first maybe like 5-6 rounds, and now that was what caused them to lose a fair few. And now here they might be, you know, paying for it a little bit, given the fact that we do see Wildcard taking that lead back. But Wildcard have been really, really good on this attacking side so far. And if they can keep up the pace, they might take us to map number 3 on Ascent.
Yeah, Order taking a knee at the moment, it would seem, but surviving with a couple of the players there will allow them to reinvest quite nicely in toward this new round. They do only have the Cosmic Divide currently in their arsenal. Autumn is 2 away from the Blade Storm. But you look at the flip side, you've got 1 away from Hunter's Fury on Swirl, 1 away from Ninim on those Blades. You've already got the Showstopper as well, so for Wildcard, they definitely have points of origin that they can rely upon getting in towards this site here. They currently are setting up around A, but there's so many stars on that mini-map as well that anything it can happen. You've got the bird going through, the Hawk, guiding light through the teleporter. That spots out a bunch of information surrounding the showers, and there's just a lot of utility being utilized here already.
So using that owl drone, trying to clear out the shower location. Guiding light to come out, nothing to connect though as of yet. Swell's not going to gather any information there. Falling back, starting to send a little bit of a rotate, just keeping Disco around and available. But it actually might be the gamble stack to pay off for Order at the moment. Wildcard, not exactly switched onto it. They're actually going to be using the Cosmic Divide as well. That's going to allow Autumn some good positioning onto the other side. Just watching. Are they going to creep into it though, Dion? Still a 5 versus 5. Time is really ticking. Autumn is going to have to cut out for him here, and he's not going to find anything at all. Sight gathered, unless Tax has got something to say about it, and he does not. So unfortunately, this rotate from Order did not pay off.
Yeah, Wildcard, they wait patiently, they go in together, swing through. RDW gets the right line of sight to be able to pick up that first frag, and Tuck's only being good for 1 does put us into a pretty decent post-plant scenario for Wildcard right now. Texter heading down the stars to conceal some of that vision, as well as the gravity well to the top of the site. Keep anybody in toward the middle lane of that tube, but you got the Hunter's Fury for Swirl as well. They could definitely rely upon that one here. Wildcard looks like they're just going to be able to claim the 11th on the scoreboard because Order, they don't want to go in for this retake.
Getting out of there. This is the second time we've seen a save in a game where it doesn't always feel common. You know, saves are much less apparent in Valorant, and Order deciding that it is the only real viable option at this point in time. They've got 3 rifles in hand. They will at least be able to do something into the next. But man, that's Wildcard picking up 11, only 2 more rounds. They could potentially bring it to a 3rd, delaying our opportunity to see straight out of Zoo versus Bliss, which is of course the series after this one. Loser of this map goes on to face the winner of the next one in the 3rd map of the day. And obviously we've got that best of 5 grand final, which the winner of this team will be heading on into. So again, we've had awesome action everywhere, Dion. It's been a great lot of competitions. You know, we've got 3 sort of running side by side. The Oceania Tour. Of course, we've had a little, couple of week-long tournaments here and there of high caliber. Players getting lots of opportunity to really shine bright.
Blades down, Ninim down. Big open up for Order here. They are going to send their forces through the Wahuka as well. That was kind of a big question for Wildcard. What have you got to be able to bring this one back? Paint shells over towards the showers. Texter picks up Noz as well. That's your smokes down for Wildcard. Can only rely on these cages from RDW if he still has them. Guiding light in, and a dart is actually going to reveal Texter. His team flash as well. Signed finally. And on that board for this round, RDW bites back for 2, however.
Swell.
1 enemy remaining.
Oh,
Hang on. Was this a 2-on-5? I think it was. All the way back down to just Autumn now, who has to clutch this out. They're actually planning on the other side now. They would have heard that updraft as well from a distance. RDW getting aggressive in, knows the position. Will he clear it? He won't. And that's a 3K for RDW and a 2-on-5 for him and Swirl. Around that Wildcard had no business collecting, and that brings them up to Matt point.
Full house of frags between Swirl and RDW there. Definitely looking to stack the deck. It's worked in their favor. And now they do find map point to try and send us into the 3rd one in Ascent. It looked very shaky, in the beginning of this game for Wildcard to see that 3rd map. But right now, they've definitely picked it up. Maybe they have awoken coming toward the 3 p.m. mark. That's when they really start to feel themselves. And if we get into Ascent, in the reverse sweep, it could definitely look plausible.
Nidham, good pickup. That's Autumn trying to get aggressive, and he will be punished for it. Texter takes a lot of damage from that Hunter's Fury. Swell, good work. Gets the information onto Disco as well. But Disco is manhandled. That spike out of the hands towards Long. Nidham actually missing the shot onto side. Goes for the repeat, and there's the teleport through. Disco will be able to support his boy as they do get around to this situation now. Still a 3-on-3. Tuck's in a good position. The guiding light available. So with the Trailblazer. RDW, will he clear that CT-sided position? He will, but he won't at the same time. Tux is going to take him down. Order still have something to say about this right now, Dion. They are not done just yet. They want to close this out in a 2-0 fashion. And now Swirl, I'm having to try and clear this out. Yeah, exactly. Autumn as well. Obviously going down earlier on. That means Nidham can pick up the operator and choose to rotate his way around. I didn't even know he's actually chosen to do right now.
Oh my lord.
Where does he go? How does he approach this?
They have free B. If he TPs, they have free B. He's seen the Trailblazer. It's going to spot him on through, but he doesn't know that anyone's in the showers behind him now. It's split frags happening. Nidham's found Sign coming through the teleporter as well. This is just two disconnected duels that are going to have to be fought on through. As well has to get across. He wins the duel against Tux. He can go establish that plan. Now that he knows where Disco is, it's all down to the one-on-one. Swirl has to go huge here. 2 bullets over to Disco will end it. As Swirl repositions in towards the U-Haul, even has his owl drone still to be able to spot out some information if the plane is being stuck or not, but it isn't actually at a very good position for him right now. The half defuse from Disco, he does get off it, and he's seen it. He's shot a bullet too. Swirl reveals his location. Owl drone in, that's what I mean. He's got the info, he's got the tag, he knows what Disco's exactly doing right now. There's Disco looking to bait him on through, still off the defuse. Swirl to end it. A brilliant clutch for Wildcard. We are going to map 3.
Map number 3, it will be indeed. So both of these teams so far have taken their map selections each. Haven going the way of Order 13-7. And now we've just seen Bind go in the favor of Wildcard 13-90 on. That means we've got a set around the corner. But man, I kind of have a little bit of a feeling that Order definitely wasn't playing into their usual standards earlier on, I guess you could say. And the Sky, unfortunately, didn't seem to be the answer.
Yeah, it was a little bit different, you know, to come through for Order as opposed to what we saw against Bliss yesterday. It's, you know, the unexpectedness. It was the first time that Order did bring it out, the second time coming through for today. But it feels like in the beginning, you know, things were much more favoured over towards Order. But then Wildcard just kind of woke up. They figured out what they had to do to be able to get back into it. And the real turning point in that game, you know, was that 2 versus 5. I think that kind of destroyed the spirits of Order.
Yeah, definitely. Now we saw some really, really big things come out from Swell and RDW, of course. But guys, that does mean map 3 is not too far away on Ascent. Don't go anywhere. The Valorant Oceania Tour. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Just come off the elevator and
I just time traveled. Today's a big day for past me. He just got the latest Vodafone broadband with super Wi-Fi, which finally means Wi-Fi in all 4 corners of the house. What? Even there? I've got Wi-Fi in the garage. Here we go. See ya. Oh, it's still the garage. Yeah.
But I'm
Super
really
Wi-Fi.
preparing you.
Multiple Wi-Fi guaranteed.
Because of what happened before. So honey, just know, because that makes it work. Never really cry, big crap, with a little in the car. Because no, it's a good idea. And it's like this, close. Yeah, no, don't do that. Oh, bless you. It's 7 5 on your income.